gonna go down to the multiverse of madness.
What's up? What's happening?
I don't know why I clapped after that.
It
I
works
should have
though.
clapped before. Whatever.
All for the audio.
All for the audio. Let's get going. Welcome back to another episode of DMT Reviews with me, Sam Butler, and of course, as always, my lovely co-host, Jack Anderson.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, and this episode, Jack, I don't want to get a little, like, I'm putting pressure on us or anything like it, but it might be one of our strongest episodes yet.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is the perfect DMT Reviews movie.
Yeah.
And it's for two reasons. We love it, and we really hate it at the same time.
There's a lot to say about
And I
this
think that's the perfect one, where it's like, all the stuff, guys, take this with a grain of salt. We really liked this movie. I'm coming out of the gate, 8 out of 10 with my rating.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you rate it?
Yeah, I get like an 8.5. I mean, I definitely enjoyed it. You know,
Right.
like I said, it's like an Age of Ultron, Iron Man 3 kind of feeling. Where you're like,
That's why
it's
I rated
not a
it
bad
an 8.
movie. If DC made this movie, it would be a top 5 DC movie.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly,
This
it
movie-
would be one of the best movies they've ever made.
This
But-
movie and Shazam are neck and neck.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I enjoyed it. I had fun. I'll see it again. I've seen it twice now. But
Yeah.
it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I left the theater just,
And before anybody gets going on us like, hey, you know, who are you to talk? It's like, we're ones to talk. Go listen to episode 151 of DMT Don't Miss This podcast, because we literally went through our old material and shredded it.
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Eviscerated ourselves. So
We know
yeah,
bad stuff.
We're the best kind of critics for this. Especially because it's all constructive.
Right. Well,
And
I
it's
think-
all out of love.
Exactly. We can speak to it because we love it, because we know it, because we've been part of it since we were kids, right? We take this way more seriously than we should. But also, we're into the creation of this stuff. We like writing, we like filmmaking, we like these specific, figures in Hollywood, right? So it's like, I think we come to this with enough knowledge to at least speculate as to the problems. Speculate maybe to some solutions.
Yes.
Speak to things they did great. I mean, there's a lot I have to talk about with this movie.
I know, same here.
And
I have one thing to say. I think it's to our fault a little bit that we've said it on this podcast and DMT Don't Miss This podcast several times. In Feige, we trust. In Feige, my trust has been shaken. With the movies. The movies specifically.
Right, exactly.
Welcome to the dance floor, boys.
It was like perfect.
Yeah, great timing. All right, what am I doing? Let's taste up.
All right. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
It's all very exciting.
It is.
Everyone's wrong.
Everyone's wrong. Yeah, everyone was wrong for this one.
Yeah, so let me start.
I want to let you start
Yeah,
because
I want to
copious
start.
notes.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go ahead. I've rewritten the movie in my head. Yeah, I know what I would want it to be.
Okay.
And I think it would work. But we're gonna I want to earn
Okay,
that.
I want to
'Cause I've
earn it.
spent
I
a
want
lot
to
of
earn it
time.
from you.
Exactly.
Let me start with this movie was falsely advertised.
100%,
And
10,000%.
it reminded me.
It's very Iron Man 3.
That's exactly. It was Iron Man 3, Age of Ultron. Both of those movies were advertised falsely as being way darker and having way more of an impact.
Yes.
This movie was marketed the same way.
Yes.
And this movie,
Yes.
just from the trailers alone, this movie reads as Doctor Strange and Wanda are up against some multiversal thing. Maybe it's Evil Strange. Mephisto. Someone like that. And they have to team up. And at some point in Act 2, Wanda's going to get corrupted and be a bad guy for a little bit. But she's going to turn it around, and Doctor Strange and her are ultimately going to overcome. That's how the trailers sold this movie. What the movie actually was Wanda is the straight-up villain.
Yeah, 100%.
All right? It would have sold even better, I feel. If they just marketed it that properly rather than her being like the Hulk or Iron Man to this solo movie.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that's basically, so I want to start with these things I liked. I liked a lot about this movie. I liked
So did
so
I.
much about this movie. Firstly, To that point, exactly. Wanda Maximoff being the bad guy, Scarlet Witch. I know a lot of people aren't happy about it, but a lot of people that are comic fans are extremely happy about it. And as just a fan of her and Elizabeth Olsen's journey with this character, because I would say the three, obviously, Tony Stark, Iron Man, but the three best characters, and I think I might have already said it on this show, that Marvel's put together, at least in my opinion, Cap.
You said it on DMT.
Yeah, Cap, Thor, Wanda,
Yes.
right? Those three, I think, have had the most interesting, fleshed out, and surprising arcs out of anybody. And with Wanda being the villain, I think this is the natural place for her to get to, right? I'll get to my cons with how they handle it here in a second, but she's flawless as far as like what her character is and the impact she has on this movie
And
the horror element.
The grasp that Elizabeth Olsen has on this character as an actress.
Limitless.
I'm not going to talk about it yet. There's so much to talk about that I'm like, dial
for
back.
only a 2-hour movie.
Continue about Wanda.
And so just love that it's her versus Strange, you know? And so a little critique that we'll certainly get into much more later. We'll get very much Wanda versus Strange, you know? I think the best part of the movie is when she's attacking Carmitage. Well, one of the best, for sure, because another one's pretty fun. But both involve her kicking ass, tearing shit up. And those are the kind of two big set pieces, you know?
And like we talked about after we saw it the first time, the only thing about that Carmitage scene that we would change is to have her and Strange fight initially, rather than Strange just sort of...
Well, and the one thing that he does.
This is me being reasonable. Okay, bye.
Let me show you exactly how Doctor Strange fights the Scarlet Witch. He throws 3 snakes at her. It goes, yeah, that's all he does.
Which, let me tell you, that is actually the only thing that he throws at her.
The only thing that like gets her is the illusion of Carmitage.
Yeah,
and she figures it out pretty damn quick.
Yeah, she figures out how to get out of the mirror dimension immediately. Immediately, she was like, "Well, if I try this, then these mirrors are going to be spikes at me. Well, how about I just go into the mirrors?"
Right. Which is another thing that I loved is how powerful she was, how she found out about her power, how she used her power, all that. Yeah. And this is, I'll go into another.
Oh yeah, no, this movie this movie should have been stretched out season 2 of WandaVision.
Totally, exactly. Because this
include Strange in the same role. Strange was the supporting role in his title movie.
The only reason Doctor Strange is in this movie is because of his powers, not because of who he is.
And I gotta say that since the first Doctor Strange, he's just been fucking dragged around the entire MCU between movies. The Avengers movies, it makes sense.
Right.
Spider-Man, it's like cool. He's like, you know,
mentor.
These solo movies are gonna have Avengers in them outside the title guy. But I would say for how the first Doctor Strange left him, everything they've done with his character does not make sense for how he left.
Yeah.
The way he was left at the end of Doctor Strange, he is the Sorcerer Supreme. He understands the weight of it. Then you see him in Infinity War, and he's slapping Tony Stark with his cape, and it's just an ego, big dick war with him.
Sure.
All the way up until the Thanos fight, where he's like, all right,
which is what his role in that movie was.
I know,
right?
that was his role.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like they decided to undercut his, what's the word where it's like heavy? Somber, his level of just being somber and clear on his responsibility to just being like, well, this is a pissing contest now, which but from Tony Stark's death on, it kind of feels like, well, we got to put him in Spider-Man because Tony's dead now.
Yes.
And then this one, is he the father figure to Wanda? Not at all.
No.
Is he even the brother figure? Is he even a brother figure?
Have a relationship with her.
Exactly. Yeah. He never even actually interacted with her until Endgame.
She is only a threat to him. And it's way more so okay, I'm just gonna tell you what my movie is.
Go.
Because I think we're gonna get to so many things along the way.
Yeah.
So first things first. I want to say that we need to be more careful when we start hearing about these creative difference issues on Marvel movies.
Yeah, because this was my first note. This is probably the biggest Frankenbaby in the MCU history. And because all the stuff that happened behind the scenes was so public.
Right.
The only thing that I think this movie did to keep any secrets was hide John Krasinski from us.
Exactly.
That's it. That was it.
Right. Which we probably gave them the idea to do.
Yeah. We probably twisted their arm. And you know what? I'm going to say this. It's a note later in the list, but if they blue ball us with this upcoming John Watts Fantastic Four movie, I am going to be so livid.
If they don't
It's
put John
gonna be
Krasinski in it, I might not see it.
My stomach is already killing me from the blue balls that I got from Venom being taken out immediately during No Way Home. If this happens, that this Fantastic Four movie doesn't have John Krasinski, I can forgive not having Emily Blunt.
Right.
But
Right. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's okay.
But if they did this to us and then they take it away,
knowing how bad he
I will
wants
die
it too.
from blue balls.
Knowing how bad he wants it as well.
These blue balls will kill me. I did not know he wanted it so bad. I know he was trying to be Captain America. It was him and Chris
Star-Lord.
Evans. Was he trying to be
He
Star-Lord?
was like the runner-up both times.
Really?
And he's been like, I want to work with Marvel so bad. I love these movies. I love how they do it.
Yeah.
Get me in it. Get me in it. Fantastic Four.
Okay,
He was
well,
like, I'm
then
all
that
about
gives
this.
me hope that it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, but
Fingers
after
crossed, knock on
after
wood.
some of the things we've seen recently, here's how I'm justifying it to myself. Every other Illuminati member other than Charles Xavier, who we don't really have context for, is their Avenger self.
Yes.
Captain Carter is Haley Atwell.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I feel like that Illuminati scene was just a scene to prove how powerful Scarlet Witch was and how
Totally.
much she's been holding back.
Yeah.
And the fact that she can single-handedly not only eviscerate the Avengers, but can just rewrite the entire universe.
Yeah, it's her Omni-Man scene. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and exactly. Because I just talked to somebody at the bar that I work with that, we were talking about the Illuminati scene. He's like, dude, it was like invincible. I'm like, that's exactly how that scene made me feel.
Yes.
Was like Omni-Man eviscerating the Guardians of the Globe.
Yep, exactly. And I think that we'll get to that Illuminati scene specifically here in
later.
a sec. So, you'd see it. Thor: The Dark World. Patty Jenkins Lee's creative differences. They bring Alan Taylor in. It's a
She was the original director? What?
Yeah, I think she might have even written it too.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
So she leaves. Says nice things, but then Alan Taylor comes in. It's a nightmare. It's their worst movie they've ever made. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Thor 2. They don't really know what they were doing. It's kind of...
Well, it's something we've talked about, that this Phase 4 feels like Phase 2, where the wagon caught up to the horses.
Exactly. Yes.
Like they're making movies for the sake of keeping with the schedule rather than... I think you said it last week with Moon Knight. If they took 3 years from now to make this movie and they took the time and made it right...
Yeah.
We would be happy with it. We'd be totally happy.
It might be our favorite. It
We
would
are
be a no way.
satiated with all the Marvel content we're getting on
Think
Disney
about
Plus.
what No Way Home made us feel. That's
Yes.
an MCU movie. I don't care what Sony ever says ever. Like
Yeah.
it's an MCU movie. I'll
Yeah.
get to Sony again here in a second. But then you have like Iron Man 3, which I don't think was a creative problem. In fact, I think it was a little too creative.
Yeah, no, that was taking too much creativity.
Right. They took a big swing, and and so remember 2013 that happened. Remember 2015, Age of Ultron. Not really anybody gets fired, but Joss Whedon will never work with Marvel again, I guess, or Marvel will never work with him. It's clearly
and it was initially like, oh, I'm just burnt out from taking on such big movies, but it's really like,
I can't handle this.
You just can't handle it.
Exactly.
Man.
I didn't have a good second idea. You know,
it's going to be something that I talk about with the dialogue in this movie.
Oh,
is Joss
jeez.
Whedon.
Yeah.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, the dialogue.
Continue
So then,
with your multiverse of madness.
And
In
then
a different universe, this movie got made.
I think it's a damn good movie. And then also, just to finish that point, we have Ant-Man that same year, right?
Yeah.
Which Edgar Wright leaves out of creative differences.
And they get Adam McKay and
and
Paul
Peyton
Rudd
Reed
and Peyton Reed.
which is like, okay, it felt like Thor: The Dark World. We'll just say Kevin Feige, because as much praise as we gotta give him flack when we see problems.
Exactly.
It feels like Thor: The Dark World. He's like, oh, I really like the Shakespearean thing we did in the first one worked, but that's not really what I'm going for. I want it to be Game of Thrones. And Patty Jenkins was like, I kind of have a different idea. And he's like, no, it needs to be Game of Thrones. And she's like, well, then I don't want to do this. He's like, okay, let's get the guy from Game of Thrones. And then the guy...
No wonder Wonder Woman had so many similarities between Thor.
Right.
That makes sense now.
And then Alan Taylor comes along and he's like, okay, I'm making this movie and this dark elf seems really interesting. And, Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel are like, well, no, Loki is trending right now. So get Loki in this movie. And he's like, well, I don't really have an idea for that. And they're like, then put him in it. I don't care.
Loki kind of fucked a lot of villains because of how popular he ended up
a little bit, yeah. Which again, like the and I'm gonna go pro Marvel here at the end of this rant, but like the consequences of these choices tend to lead to good things. They tend to correct their mistakes a lot, and then you see, and so Age of Ultron, kind of cartoony, seems weird. Seems like they have this idea with what they've done with like Winter Soldier, but they have Joss Whedon still, who doesn't really know how to execute.
I don't want to
that.
hear the man that was meant to meddle medley.
Exactly.
God damn it.
Joss Whedon doesn't know how to handle serious. He has no idea how to handle a serious beat.
It makes
to save
him
his
so
life.
uncomfortable that he'll make the dumbest joke possible.
Yeah.
At the expense of the scene.
And it really worked in that pulpy 2012 Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Like that was fun. That was what it was going to be. And then you bring Ultron in it, who's the Terminator.
And the way it was advertised was, it was going to be a Terminator in the Dark Knight collide, and it was going to be dark. Stakes were going to be high.
the
People are going to
Avengers.
die.
Yes.
Lives are at stake. Oh, wait, no. The only life that was really at stake was a guy that got introduced in this movie that you have literally no emotional attachment to.
Right. So
Who was introduced as a villain in this movie?
exactly.
So more than anything, you wanted him to die.
Exactly.
Quicksilver.
So, yeah, I would say the pro Marvel part, 2013, weird creative choices, terrible creative differences.
2014.
Winter Soldier and Guardians.
Exactly.
2015, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man turned out really well. Could have been a disaster, but they made the right moves after that because I don't think they had an idea. I think they really liked the Edgar Wright thing. They just didn't quite click. And they were like, well, I think Peyton Reed could do what he was trying to do, and let's keep Edgar in the loop. Versus like this, I think Scott Dickerson was like, I have this really scary idea that's going to be Derrickson. I always say that. Derrickson.
No,
came in,
I do too.
Right?
I could feel like,
I was like,
I just was looking stuff up.
and he basically was like, I have this scary movie, and they're like, that's cool, and we wanted to do this. He's like, that's cool, and we want to do the multiverse. He's like, I think I could do that.
And my thing with that horror thing, lean into it
Right.
so hard because
if you're going for it.
If Marvel's its own genre, and they're doing genres within the genres. So Ant-Man is a heist movie. Both of them are heist movies.
Thor Ragnarok, comedy.
Comedy, yes. Like 80s comedy.
Winter Soldier, political thriller kind of thing. Yeah.
All this stuff. You can do genres within this. You can do genre bending, and that includes horror. You can absolutely scare the tits off of some kids, but you don't have to be heavy about it. You don't have to be grisly. You don't have to be gory. Psychological terror is the master. And every moment there were a few moments that were scary in this movie, but every moment that was building to a scary and every moment that we were like invested, like, holy shit, they undercut it. They undercut it with some stupid fucking joke or gag or
I wouldn't
silliness.
even call them jokes.
Not even yet. Because they wouldn't even land. People in the audience weren't really even laughing.
No, nobody's laughed. I got one funny laugh story, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll just tell you the part where, it's the Bruce Campbell where he's like, oh, how long is this going to last? And Doctor Strange says 3 weeks. The guy, like 2 rows in front of me goes, ha! That's how he reacted to that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, who are these people?
You like that.
These just one-ha people. Because they're in theaters. I've had several one-ha peoples just go, ha! You know? And I would say that Jay is a blah person.
He's a blah.
He's a blah.
Yeah, exactly.
Blah.
So Scott Derrickson doesn't quite work. And then I think based on context clues, again, we don't have any evidence of this, but based on what we've talked about seeing, it seems like Kevin Feige and Sam Raimi have a long relationship by working on Spider-Man movies. It seems like Sam Raimi loves Doctor Strange. It seems like he probably has wanted to make a Doctor Strange movie for a long time. Kevin Feige, it's on record saying that I think Strange is his favorite. I think this is kind of like his baby a little bit. Like he's wanted to bring Strange to the screen in this way. And it just kind of feels like I bet Scott Derrickson had a really cool idea, but I bet Kevin Feige had a very specific vision he wanted to do with this movie, and then he said, "I think Sam Raimi can help me do it."
That is true. I guess I didn't. I've never heard Feige explicitly say that, but he's always been wearing the Doctor Strange hat.
Yeah,
even
I've
promoting
heard somebody
Infinity
say
War.
it. Yeah, somebody was like, "This is Feige."
But it's like that's the hat.
Right.
That's the hat. When you're looking for Feige, you look for the hat.
That's
and
right.
What hat is he wearing?
Mostly Doctor Strange.
Mostly Doctor Strange. He's got the Sanctum logo on there.
Exactly. So like he, I think, had a very deep stake in this. I think he brought Sam Raimi on and was like, Sam's going to help me make the Doctor Strange movie I wanted to make. But in the meanwhile, I also would like to, we've teased the multiverse. We've played with the multiverse. Let's break into the multiverse in this movie. And we've been doing all this work with Wanda. Wouldn't it be cool? We had her as the bad guy in this. Why don't we put him? And Sam Raimi's like, oh, but can I still make a Sam Raimi movie through this?
Yeah.
And Kevin Feige's like, I guess. And he was like, okay, I'm going to make a Sam Raimi movie.
Exactly. Okay, so I watched a bunch of interviews with Sam Raimi about this movie, which it's funny because these
what I'll say is when we saw that post-credits scene in No Way Home and I saw from director Sam Raimi, I was a little worried.
Oh yeah,
My
this is
went
the
up.
only Marvel movie that says a Sam Raimi film
And
or
this
a
isn't his original
director's
idea.
film, a
Like,
director's film.
The thing that bothers me most, and it's not anything anti-Sam Raimi, it's that this wasn't his original idea.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he is the guy they brought on after they fired the other guy.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I get why you're claiming this, but it's making it bigger than the thing.
Let me tell you about the interviews.
Yeah, please.
So one thing that I've noticed about interviews now for press junkets is that they're because of COVID, I'm sure, but they are now in the same place. Whoever's being interviewed, it stays in the same seat, and then they just cycle in interviewers.
Yeah.
The interviewers are the ones who are
Barry
getting
did a good
switched
job
out. They're
with
not
that.
making the actors and cast and crew go to these different places to get interviewed
Right.
anymore. They're just like, we're going to go to one place, and we're going to get it all done today.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah. But Sam Raimi, in every single one of them, there were three things that were buzzes to me, where it's like, one, this is for the fans. You know, we ought to keep it to the fans, what the fans want to do, what the fans like. And I'm like, that means goddamn focus groups.
Right.
And that was focus groups with fans who probably don't know it.
Yeah.
You
Probably
know?
Sam Raimi fans.
Yeah.
Like that Sam Raimi fans love this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like-
Well, that was the thing, was people that I talked to before we saw this was like, you know, I'm like, I just recently ripped through the Evil Dead series, you know, including the remake, which, you know, side note, I still maintain to this day is one of the best remakes of all time. But the thing about it was, he was like, this is about the fans, and, you know, true Doctor Strange fans would know certain things about this movie and what's going on, and But the thing that I was taking away from it was just his attitude, the fact that he wasn't very passionate about it. I feel like he was like just the hired guy. He's like, I came to make Kevin's movie,
Right.
not make my movie.
Oh, interesting.
And I came to put my thumbprint on it because it's a Sam Raimi movie. You know, there's going to be expectations. There's going to be quirky horror.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be jokes. There's going to be a little bit of this, that, and the other. And then the other thing that hit me too was the last movie that he directed, the last feature film that he directed was 2013, Oz the Great and Powerful. And like, it was cool that he reunited with James Franco for that movie, but it was like, that movie, it felt more passionately driven. Like, he wanted to tell the origin story of the Great Oz, the Wizard of Oz. This one, he's like, well, he's a wizard.
Yeah.
He's a
Interesting.
wizard.
Yeah.
You know, and like, he's a fan, but it's also been like almost 10 years since he directed a movie.
Right. Well, and to say to the true Doctor Strange fans will recognize this. I love that and I respect that. But also, I feel like part of what's made the Marvel movies so good is that they've done this brilliant job of giving people that have no comic book context
A jumping on point.
Exactly. And telling us the story of these characters and, like, yeah, throw the Easter eggs in there, but give the people that don't understand it context so we can at least get half that excitement, you know? Yeah, so...
Well, and that's why I found it such an alarming thing that he kept repeating through the several interviews for the fans, fans. And I'm like, these movies aren't supposed to be just for the fans. You're excluding the world. You know, that's what I've loved about most of these movies is that...
Well, they're good movies.
Yeah, they're good movies. Through and through, just good movies. You throw on Black Panther for anybody, and if they don't give a shit about superheroes, they're going to enjoy something about that movie.
Exactly.
All right? Thor Ragnarok. They don't need the previous Thor movies or Avenger movies. You can throw that movie on and just be like, you know, from the jump, you have him just be like, oh, how did I get here?
Right,
And
exactly.
you're just like, oh, this is kind of fun. This is a fun movie, you know?
And so, to that point, and this is maybe one of the things that kind of annoyed me about the movie, like one of the things I felt wanting from the movie is that what I liked about the idea of Wanda versus Strange was that both their stories are driven by pain and Wanda more like pain that's happened to her, and Strange by, like, hers is...
Strange's
is driven
pain now at this point is just unrequited love.
Right. Well, but the thing that I don't think they're exploring that I think is way more interesting is the consequences of these decisions that he keeps making.
Yes.
Because even though he's maybe quote unquote making
They
the right
explored it
decision.
perfectly in episode 4 of What If.
Right, exactly. And in this, we got one scene with Robert Sackler addressing his guilt about the blip and like maybe some, which
Did it have to be that
I'm shocked
way?
they haven't. I mean, other than WandaVision,
Eternals, like I was talking to somebody
Eternals,
about
but
this.
even then.
Eternals is the only movie that the blip was part of the
and
plot.
Far From Home. But
Yeah, Far
even
From
then,
Home.
like,
But even then, it was just explained away in a fucking RNN style.
yeah, exactly.
School news thing.
Yeah.
So, they're really, really not grasping the gravity
Yes.
and handling it of
their own
5
decisions.
years. 5 years. Even if it was 2 years, it would have been lighter. 5 years
half a
of
decade.
half the people gone and then coming back. And, Falcon and Winter Soldier, okay. I'm jumping ahead
Yeah, I
of
guess
myself.
they did it. They did it probably.
They
the
did,
best,
but I'm
yeah.
going to say I'm jumping ahead of myself. This movie should have been WandaVision Season 2. The Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been a movie, And we're in this point now in the MCU where picking and choosing what deserves a series versus what deserves a movie. I think from going forward, because series have been proving better and better, TV shows seem to be completely becoming king of the medium.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to tell a long story and get all your cake and eat it too, go to series. If you're going to tell a crossover event where it's going to be a very quick event and it's not going to be like a Thanos level threat where it's going to need 6 episodes of a development of his plot, that should be a movie.
Right.
So the next Avengers movie, not an Avengers series. An Avengers series would get messy, like we saw with the Defenders, where it felt like 4 episodes of it were like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? Are you going to fight ninjas or what?
Right.
This movie, it felt like, give us another hour, please.
Yeah. It's
Please.
too short.
It's too short.
Undoubtedly too short.
It's too short, but still felt too long.
Exactly.
Weird, the pacing, how this movie went.
So the thing about making the unexpected choice is that sometimes it's really cool, and sometimes it's a bad idea. Sometimes it's just genuinely the wrong thing to do.
Yes.
So I'll fly through this movie real quick, and then we'll get back to the
because
theory.
there's so many tangents to take.
And it won't get any better as I explain
No,
this.
it won't get any better for me either.
If anything, maybe it'll structure it a little bit more. So, first thing that I would do, and the first thing I would say right now, is that Mordo got fucked.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
Mordo,
What
more
the
than
fuck was
anybody?
She would tell Ejiofor even in this movie 4.
Just to say that he
They could have
was.
gotten goddamn Joaquin Phoenix
For
to
the
play
false
alternate
advertising.
Strange. Yes,
Yeah.
the false advertising.
We're supposed to think, oh, he grew his hair out. He's coming back for him. He's doing it. No.
I played that clip from the episode that we did a few weeks ago from Bitch Meeting where it's like, isn't that false advertising? Yeah, let's do some of that. Let's do some of that. About Morbius.
Right. So I would start this movie with Mordo. I would have Mordo coming after Strange
That's
now.
exactly how this advertised.
Yes, exactly.
If Mordo teamed up with somebody like Mephisto or even Nightmare or something, and he's going to be fucking up the multiverse.
Exactly.
Because of Strange. It's going to be Strange's fault. No.
So, and even to that point, like I almost like, because Mordo's his Joker, right? We gotta emphasize the relationship between these two characters. Because even though you're like, oh, we did it in the comics, it's been explored. Well, you haven't done it with Cumberbatch and Chitwell. I mean, you did in the first one. You did a great job. You laid so much pipe for Mordo.
Yes.
That was awesome.
And then the only sort of
I was so excited to
acknowledgement-
see him become the main villain.
I know,
of him.
same
Yeah.
here. And will that happen in the third one? Maybe.
Yeah, we're gonna get a retcon Mandarin again. That's which
Yeah,
again, it
because
worked.
it was just like the thing that pissed me off. Okay, is how much dialogue in this explained away stuff flippantly.
Yes.
So like when Mordo shows up in Universe 838, he shows up and he's like, this guy has vowed to kill me or anything. It's like, you don't know that.
Yeah, I'm like,
you personally do not know that unless you've encountered
Defeated him.
him
Yeah.
in the interim, in which case that should have been the second one.
How have we not seen that?
How have we not seen that? You don't know this, Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
This is not information that has been presented to him, is that Mordo is out to kill people.
Precisely.
The only evidence that we have that he is that Pangborn is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like him and Wong have been shown
Going
like,
after him
you know,
or-
magical CSI at the crime scene. Like, it feels like this is the work of Mordo.
Yeah.
There's none of that setup. They just got Chiwetel Ejiofor to come back.
Yeah. For one day, probably.
Yeah,
2
put him
days.
in dreadlocks and was like,
Yeah, exactly. And he's great in it. He's so charismatic and fun in the... Because I like good Mordo. I would have loved to see good Mordo with bad Mordo, right? I mean, Mordo...
You know what? I would have loved to see good Mordo's hair on bad Mordo in the first one.
Yeah, that would be great.
Because there's something about the fact that he's buzzed and sleeveless with his tiny body. And I wouldn't say tiny, but his body type.
Compared to another Marvel man, he's small.
Yeah.
Him and Cumberbatch are small men.
Yeah,
to the other
exactly.
guys, yeah.
But it's like him just being, fight! You know, in that scene where he's whipping at him with that fucking, like, you know, whatever, the staff that
Also, the
whips.
main magic of this movie were the orange rope things. I mean, the rope or the, you know, whatever the main thing he conjures.
Oh,
That seems to be the only thing he really used.
yeah, the ribbon things that he tied Thanos up with.
But no, just like the orange, like the circle.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Like the old, this piss. Okay, so another character got fucked. Wong. Wong got fucked big time in this.
He got Bilbo'd.
Yep.
I've become hyper aware to people getting Bilbo'd, which is what I call, for people listening, when they knock somebody out for a significant portion of a story to only have them come back at the very end.
Just because you're like, oh yeah, we need to make sure people know they didn't die.
And you know, for The Hobbit, it was just an absurd choice by J.R.R. Tolkien to just be like, we're going to knock Bilbo out, and I just don't feel like describing the entire Battle of the Five
wrote it
Armies.
in
And
the
he's going to wake
30s.
up, Thorin, Killy, and etc. are dead, and he's just back going to the Shire. See ya, Bilbo.
That happens to
If you
people.
get Bilbo'd in a movie, or you have, if you're as a writer in a situation where it's like, if I keep this character in this plot and don't give him something to do, he could unravel this plot.
Yes.
So we got to Bilbo him.
Yep.
They Bilbo'd Wong.
Yep, totally. And you know what really sucked more than anything was like when Wong shows up as the Sorcerer Supreme
The Sorcerer Supreme.
to fight the octopus. He throws the sword thing at him once and is captured.
Yeah.
Wong does nothing of significance as the Sorcerer Supreme, which sucks because
He does nothing of significance other than just be like, Mount Wundagore.
Yeah, he opens portals and throws swords with orange ropes attached.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, guys, this
is wild.
You did such. Here's
And-
2 examples. You did such a good job in the first Doctor Strange, just of magic, right?
Yeah.
Of magic and what this is. 2, Thanos versus Strange. I mean, that shit's iconic. Even though it's 30 seconds,
It's the best part
people
of that
talk about
fight.
it forever.
Yeah.
Like people have
Well,
fallen.
I
in
wouldn't
love.
say best. Memorable.
Right.
Most memorable. And Wong. Winston! Oh, Winston. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
But Wong, also, in the first movie, his character was radically redesigned from how it was, the racist way that he was basically Doctor Strange's indentured servant.
Mm-hmm.
And now he is Sorcerer Supreme, and it feels like they're treating him like the indentured servant.
Yes.
As a character.
Totally.
You know? You give him magical powers, you give him magical status, you give him this you know, like elevated thing, but it's a fucking figurehead to what you're gonna do with the character. That's a fuck you.
Yeah. He feels like he's there because they have to have him there.
Yeah. And
Versus like Infinity
The
War when he
way-
was pleasantly there. You're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're getting Wong in here too. Like, okay, they respect all their characters. Yeah. No.
And the way that he's been like teased and set up, so it's like, you know, he shows up in Shang-Chi and you assume that after seeing No Way Home, that's the portal he jumped through
Right.
at the beginning of that movie, was to go to Shang-Chi.
Oh, that makes
And
sense. I didn't
work
think
with the
that.
Abomination and do that stuff. And then he's in the post credits of Shang-Chi. These are the last thing that you see in Shang-Chi, is showing up being like, you know, Shang-Chi, and you come too. We got Avenger shit to do. And then that's it. And then you put him in this movie, and like, so the way he's set up in Shang-Chi was cool. It's like, ooh, we're gonna get a lot more Wong, and
Love
I'm
it.
here for it.
So down. He's
I
gonna
am
train the
here for
Abomination.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and then he shows up in Spider-Man, hops out of the portal,
Fun.
and then shows up at the very, very end. Whatever.
Couple laughs,
And it's
you
fun,
know.
but
Wong's
it's like,
very
you know,
funny.
Wong is up to something. Wong's up to something. This one, he's like, Ah, fuck. Kamar-Taj has to be a fortress now.
Yeah.
And then knocked out. And I mean, he does kill the shit out of those demon things.
Yeah. But like he does, but he doesn't. He kills the one, and then Zombie Strange flies up and kills the other three.
Yeah, that's true. He kills only one. And okay. And it's something that I've heard many complaints.
I like those things, though.
Yeah,
They
me
were
too.
cool.
But also, they were false advertised as
Right.
Wong and Wanda fighting them.
And
there is a shot in the trailer of those two fighting
They
them.
literally just stood there.
Yeah.
That's all they really
They showed
did.
up, roared for a jump scare, and were like, oh, what's up, Wanda? What's up, Scarlet Witch? What's up?
And then just looked down at Wong. They were like, ooh, we should do
Basically.
something about
Yeah, they
this.
don't. Okay, so when Wanda throws Wong off of the cliff, he throws his fucking little kunai with the rope on it.
He drops it.
And it hits a length.
Yeah.
Like there's a limit to the length.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a movie with magic. And magic in so many other movies is used as a deus ex machina for everything. Where it's like, it's magic. You know, Harry Potter, fucking...
It's fun. That's why we like
know,
these movies.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And, you know, people are like, well, it's lazy writing to just magic your way out of a situation. This movie, it was lazy writing to limit the magic.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
No, again-
they limited the magic to make the movie work.
Exactly. And again, to that point, like, interesting little things of, like, Wanda going into the mine and Kamar-Taj and, like, some things that they did as magic wielders. But, like, when it came to the actual, like, practical use of magic, all Strange did was throw his orange whips, and all Wanda did was blast red shit, you know? And, like, dreamwalking was
Basically, yeah.
cool, but, like, and it's all cool, but, like, there was something that the first Doctor Strange set up. There was a tone to it that's like, oh, this isn't just magic to, like, move it forward. This is magic to explore, you know? This isn't magic
yeah.
to just, like, play with.
Well, exactly. Like, it was set up in the first Doctor Strange with the Ancient One. The thing about her whole thing where it was like, oh, she's a hypocrite. And Jesus Christ, the amount of times the word hypocrite got thrown around in this movie.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point of this movie, if you want to salvage anything from it, is that this is Doctor Strange having to face what the Ancient One had to, where it's a little bit of a marriage between dark and light magic.
Right. And that...
You gotta get your hands dirty, you know?
They didn't really even explore
But they
that.
didn't explore it.
Not with
exactly.
Strange, yeah.
Like, this is me
Yeah.
pulling
Yeah.
from the depths of subtext.
After seeing it multiple times.
The subtext of the subtext to be like, oh, well, that mirrors
That's
a
interesting.
lesson to the first movie.
Yes.
Sure, that is a through line, but also very untouched.
And again, going back to the consequences of what Strange has had to do, giving Thanos the Time Stone, Spider-Man alone. So, and that's another thing. So this, I'm totally speculating here, but I think this is real. I bet this is real. And if it is, I'm going to lose my shit. So, Spider-Man, hardly mention it. Hardly a part of this movie.
We did some stuff with Spider-Man. We know about the multiverse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Does he shoot webs out of his butt? Oh, I hope not. You know, done. This unprecedented rip in the multiverse that Strange was going to lose his mind over. Hardly a thing. We got it done. We took care of it. Whatever. I don't remember who that Spider-Man guy is anyway, right?
Well, and it was a problem that we addressed at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, where they were trying to tie it up all nice and neat in a bow, where it's like the implications of erasing Peter Parker from existence. So what do people remember then? What
Right.
does Doctor Strange remember from that entire event?
Because it happened. It definitely happened. They mentioned it at the
Does
end.
he remember the entire event and Peter Parker was just some guy?
He just never took the mask
Some
off.
faceless guy that he
Yeah.
doesn't remember because he had to erase him from his mind. So there's just some Tom Holland shaped shadow in his memory. What are the implications?
Right.
What are the ramifications? What is going on?
Right. And it's not, I'm not
With
saying they
these
did the wrong thing.
universe changing events that they're just sort of
You have the opportunity.
How wacky is that?
Right.
Which brings us back to last week's episode with Moon Knight. How is it so fucking confounding to people that he's talking to Khonshu and has split personalities? There's no consistency here, man. There's no consistency here.
It's true. It's true. And so the thing that I'm really worried about with the Spider-Man aspect is that there's like some rule that Sony's made that like you can't bring up our movies. We can make your movies the plot of ours. We can have Iron Man and Nick Fury and Doctor Strange. We can talk about the Avengers. We can talk about, and if you try to use them in our movies, we're going to sue you.
Yeah.
If you bring up what happened in our movies that you made, we're going to sue the fuck out
Our
of you.
movies that we hired you to make.
So I worry that they don't even have the ability to do it because of money. And it makes me, if that's real, it makes me hate Sony so much. But this is just me.
Well,
I want to be very clear. This is just me thinking and speculating.
So I sent that video of Ethan Hawke talking about movies, right?
Was it today or was it?
Well, I sent it to you a while ago, like last week.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's talking about, there's no difference between high art and low art in his eyes. And I'm like, I wish everybody had Ethan Hawke's eyes because that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Where he's like, and he brought up the first Doctor Strange, Logan, and The Dark Knight, which I would maintain at least the last two are the best superhero movies of all time. As much as I don't like that The Dark Knight is sitting at number 3 on the top 250 of IMDb, it's really
great,
probably the best superhero movie of all time.
Totally, yeah.
And Logan, I would put neck and neck with it. Doctor Strange, the first one, I got to rewatch it.
It's a phenomenal film.
It's phenomenal, though. This one is so subpar compared.
Yeah,
you're just like, this is a disrespect to the first movie to call it a sequel.
I would recommend the first Doctor Strange over this one any day of the week.
Every day of the week.
Not even a question. Not even a question.
And like I said, this should have been WandaVision season 2.
Exactly.
I mean, they had plans to have Doctor Strange in until they didn't.
Right.
And WandaVision, I rewatched it after seeing Doctor Strange for the second time, and that's where I compiled most of these notes. They don't explore the weight of the Darkhold in that show. So for them to just go ahead, let's hire the guy whose biggest movie franchise outside of Spider-Man is about an evil book.
And
Necronomicon Ex Mortis,
and have
Evil Dead fans.
An evil book that we're going to connect to Doctor Strange in such a convoluted way.
Yeah.
In such a weird... So,
very convoluted.
Going back to
your
my
movie.
film.
Your movie.
Mordo comes in. He's hot about what happened in No Way Home. He's like, oh, that...
Yeah.
I was getting rid of sorcerers. Now you are a real fucking problem.
Specifically Stephen Strange.
And meanwhile, Stephen Strange is dealing with Christine. Because I did like the Christine arc. I like the idea of what it was going for. I just was like, you crammed it in.
There's so much of this movie like that was leaving wanting.
Exactly. I was like, Rachel McAdams is so talented. And like, the ideas you have for this relationship are so fascinating. Yeah. And then you do it like, oh yeah, she's in it. We got to do it. We got to do it really quick. Yeah.
I got to tell you, though, it's so funny to me watching Rachel McAdams in these movies, let alone any other movie, and because it gets undercut by me going, she's Regina George from Mean Girls.
Right.
You know? Like, that is the same actress, but she is a totally different, like, human in that movie.
Yeah.
So that's just a little tangent.
And that's why I'm glad I didn't see Mean Girls as a kid, because I probably would feel the same way. So,
it's such a good movie.
It is a good movie. I've seen it. I just didn't see it as a child, so I don't have that.
I saw it a million times as a child because my mom and sister were obsessed with it.
Love the rom-coms, even though it's not a rom-com, but is it? No, it's not. I wouldn't classify it.
I would say it's a teenage drama.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a drom-com.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Teenage drama.
But, so Mordo comes in, not happy about this rip into the multiverse. Strange, meanwhile, is like dealing with the ramifications of the blip and stuff like that. And he is...
I would think that it would make...
And he's struggling to not be Sorcerer Supreme with Wong.
I think that would be a much more logical place to put him in, where he's almost like Fat Thor level, where he's like, the ramifications of what I did versus not being Sorcerer Supreme. I'm alone. What do I do with myself?
And Wong's helping him, but Wong's busy. Wong's working the Avengers.
What am I doing here? What is my place in the universe, let alone the multiverse?
Maybe Christine got married during the blip, and that decision he made led to her getting married, which is like, of course he's going to be okay with, but like little things, right?
And even if it wasn't Mephisto or Nightmare, it would have been really, really goddamn impactful if Strange Supreme was the villain, Doctor Strange.
Right. So, okay.
Yeah.
Mordo comes in. Mordo is livid. They start fighting. We get a Mordo Strange fight. They're going, but Strange has like been experimenting with the multiverse and stuff. It's like it's prep that during this fight they rip a hole in the multiverse again. And guess who comes through it? Darkhold Doctor Strange, right? And he's got the Darkhold. And he's like,
oh, this one? Darkhold Doctor Strange from this movie?
Yeah, or just like a
Because I'm speaking to like specifically
from What If. Right.
Doctor Strange.
And to that point, I like because Doctor Strange ends up being redeemed by the end of that too. So at the end, I was like, that's okay because this side, to your point,
Darkhold Doctor Strange. Yeah, he's irredeemable.
Because in that balance of complete darkness and complete lightness. Maybe
Right.
this version of Strange is trying to do the right thing every time, and this version is doing the wrong thing every time.
Talk about forced dialogue.
Oh, God.
And background was him showing up in Darkhold Doctor Strange is like, how do I know you're another me? And he's like, we used to have a sister.
Yeah.
You know, and she died falling through the ice, and then we spent the rest of our lives trying to save people.
Which,
yada, yada, yada. And I'm like,
one,
should have been in the first one.
right after Moon Knight. You really going to go with that?
Yeah.
And 3, Jake pointed this out to me. It's like, that isn't necessarily true in the multiverse. Like, there are probably plenty of realities that he didn't have a sister or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, there's a female Loki.
Yeah, exactly.
This doesn't go the same way that's why this city is made of plants. That's why, like, all this shit. Another thing,
Which also-
why do we go to 2 multiverses? Why
Only
don't-
2.
We only go to 2.
Otherwise, it's just a quick montage as he's going through with
not
America
even
Chavez.
really.
Not even a montage.
Just like things.
Yeah,
like
it's a
they're not
quick cut.
universes.
Yeah.
They're just like ideas.
Were we paint at one point? Yeah, that one's really weird. It's
There
hard
were
to eat
dinosaurs. We were blocks. It's like these were cool, but like again, it's a significantly superior sequence.
there. And I'm sure you
when
did the same
ancient
thing.
one puts him in the multiverse in the first one.
Yes.
Infinitely better.
And I feel like you felt the same way that I did. And on the second viewing, you tried to pay attention to everything going on in the background rather than what's going on with America and Strange. And, that whole thing, it didn't give us anything. It didn't give us anything.
There was a bone world. There was a water world. There was a paint world. There was
dinosaurs.
There was blocks. There was future.
Ooh.
Everything that you like. If you said to a 5-year-old, "Give me 10 things that could be different worlds than this," and they'd be the future, the dinosaurs. You'd be playing the paint. It's like, thanks, Sam Raimi.
Yeah, and we've talked about this so much on this podcast where it's like, delivery versus execution, and this movie executed very well.
Yeah, totally.
Visually stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I have so much good to say about
lot of
how
beats.
this movie
And also,
was executed.
Yeah.
But everything coming before the execution,
And what I kept thinking when I was watching it last night, watching the act, I just kept thinking these actors are doing the best they can.
That's my second note.
They
is
got
that,
the best of the best to do the best they can.
Oh, yeah. This is my second note. I'll read it here. Benedict Cumberbatch, of course, but Elizabeth Olsen especially carried the movie with their amazing performances. Again, especially hers. They did so well, in fact, that they made some of the most horseshit dialogue I've ever heard seem fine.
Yeah, I
i.e., Wanda, you never had children. You created them with magic. Isn't that what every mother does? It seemed fine the first time because Lizzie O is just so amazing, but it's so fucking cringy. And then you have, it's going to take a lot more than killing me to kill me this time. And then they have a quick shot of Rachel McAdams reacting to that stupid fucking line as if that was Sam Raimi's little jab at Michael Waldron being like, really, you're going to have to say this line? You're really going to have to say this line. All right, well, I'm going to call you out on it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Sam Raimi goes and films a 5-minute long slapstick thing with Bruce Campbell. So what is this movie?
It's a mess is what this movie is.
It's like,
It's a mess.
yeah, don't have the line at all if you're just going to clown it.
Yeah. You know what this movie is? This is like the coolest friend going over. You go over to their house and it's just a pigsty.
Yeah.
Like they have all the cool stuff, but you can't
Oh.
find it.
Oh.
Like they had, it's like Wes back when he had all the games, but they were just stacks of discs. And you're like, well, I want to play these, but I don't want to do the work of finding them.
Free reign of the entire basement.
What did you do with the boxes?
Like the boxes, exactly.
Did you throw them away? Why? It's so much easier to keep the boxes.
Put it back. Stacks of discs.
That's what this movie felt like.
Exactly. This doesn't make any sense. It may make sense this to you somehow?
There were so many parts I was like, yeah, wait, whoa.
What are you doing? How can you justify that?
Every scene got me going like, yeah. And then someone said a line that just made me recline my seat. It just made me go like, oh, God. Really, Cavs?
Really, K5?
I thought it's 2022.
That was our slogan. In Feige we trust, and you're dashing that
You've
trust.
made 25 of these, man. You think this shit's gonna fly? It's got a 7.4 on IMDb, so I guess it is, but, you know.
But it started in that rating.
True. It's
Every
kinda
single
stayed.
MCU movie, except for Eternals, Black Widow, Iron Man 3, and Dark World, which I would say are the 5 weakest of the entire, or 4 weakest, in Age of Ultron. 5 weakest of the MCU.
Concur.
And that's only 5 weak movies.
Yeah.
And
Out of 20, like 4.
I would say that Eternals is the least watchable.
I would say Dark
because
World,
it's
maybe.
bloated.
I like
Dark World feels like a chore.
Yeah. I'm a
But at
little
least it's
biased
only
to
2
Eternals
hours.
because it's gods and monsters, and I can
Fair.
just put that on and be brain dead. Yeah.
Here's my thing
And I
with
love those.
Eternals,
I love
dude.
all the actors. They're so good.
Bill Skarsgård played the villain, and the villain was barely in the goddamn movie because the villain was revealed to be Richard Madden.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah,
It's
again,
a bad movie.
Make it a TV series.
Make it a
would've been better.
series.
Make it a series.
And then, to this, exactly my point. This movie and Eternals should have been series. There was too much to unpack
It's like,
in such a short
here's-
amount of time.
The producers came in and they were like, well, and Sam Raimi, and they were all right. These are going to be this is the number one most important thing. It's a Doctor Strange movie. But the main thing we need to focus on is making Wanda an interesting villain. But the most important thing we can do is get into the multiverse. But
the most important thing
is making it a Sam Raimi movie.
But the most important thing is making sure that people are going to put their butts in the seats.
That's right.
But the most important thing...
Yeah.
Also, here's the thing with this movie. There's no toys.
There's no toys.
There's nothing to market. There's nothing to market.
There's the Green Minotaur that's in it.
I mean, Lego does so much heavy lifting as far as merchandising for these fucking movies that if there's no real toy thing... They have Eternals Lego sets.
Yeah.
You know? They have a Gargantos fight at the beginning. You know, a Lego set of that.
Can we
talk
about the Green Minotaur?
Why the fuck would you waste him?
He's
billed. He has one line, but he's a goddamn cameo on the level of Black Bolt. And I felt that was a crime. That was the first thing when I woke up and was getting out of bed and getting going. That was the first thing on my mind was the Green Minotaur. The Green Minotaur, and really the rest of the Wizards of Comertage, because I was just going over it in my head, and I'm like,
isn't there like a Wakandan one? I'm assuming she was.
Yeah,
Wakandan,
I'm assuming she's Wakandan as well.
That's
But,
interesting.
Okay, so those two specifically. Okay, the Book of Ashanti was a red herring MacGuffin.
Yeah.
The real MacGuffin was America Chavez.
Yes.
All right? And then the Darkhold and the Book of Ashanti are destroyed so easily that this just out of nowhere character who has 2 lines in this movie, you can stab it with a knife and destroy the Darkhold. It kills her in a pretty gruesome fashion. I mean, I will credit Sam Raimi with some of the
the deaths are
really
great.
pushing the limits of
love
PG-13.
that. Loved it.
Great.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
like
and-
when Black Bolt's skull pop.
Oh my God.
The theater went.
Go! Everybody it was go! It was great.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Yeah, and but then I would say that the theater kind of pulled back a little bit when Captain Carter got cut in half, and people were like,
Whoa. Yeah.
that was a little too far.
Yeah, turning John Krasinski into string cheese, that was fine. So yeah, popping Black Bolt's brain was awesome.
Yeah.
That was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Krasinski, I mean, it's just great to see Krasinski there. Put him in the fucking Fantastic Four or we're going to riot, okay? We're going to go to the Marvel Capitol. We're going to storm it. And I'll wear buffalo horns just to make a point of it.
Yeah.
Then and I'll wear a name tag that says Jim.
That was one really, really funny thing that I heard on a Screen Rant video. I can't remember which one it was, but it was like Well, this movie did a great job of introducing Jim to the MCU, which is crazy because Jim is already in the MCU, and it shows Jimmy Woo. Because of that
awesome.
great Randall Park Frank.
100%. So then Captain Carter, that was like and it was like let her get a couple more hits in. I mean, Jesus, you're gonna bring her into it. She like runs, she bops her, she gets hit, she goes, I could do this all day, and then she gets cut in half, and that's it. If I'm freaking
I
Haley
agree
Atwell,
with you. I agree with you. I would have loved to see that more, but to go back to consistency, she shouldn't have been able to land a blow in the first place.
at least make it
With magic involved,
Right.
with Wanda's powers to be seemingly unlimited against...
But that's what's fun about
Okay.
Captain America is he can land a blow or two, which he does. But
This is probably my favorite thing that I noticed on the second watching was Xavier introduces Reed Richards as the smartest man alive. And then the first time that he encounters Wanda, he goes, Wanda, you don't want to do this. Black Bolt could dissolve you with one whisper from his mouth. From his mouth. He had to say that. And then she goes, what mouth? Blows his fucking head up and then just peels him apart like string cheese.
it's a fair point. Yeah.
And I'm like, smartest man alive.
Yeah.
Smartest man alive. Smartest man alive. Reed Richards.
And to the final point of that, Charles Xavier, how sad. But we'll get to Charles.
We'll get to
Captain
Charles.
Marvel saying, what is it? Get the hell out of my universe. That one, I think that's where I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this. That was the line where I was like, oh no, like I don't think I can keep pretending anymore.
No, and this is why
uncomfortable.
I recommend watching things 2 times before you make your final opinion of it, because lines like that I turned my brain off, and I was like, Captain Marvel fighting Scarlet Witch,
Great.
Captain
Everything's
Marvel
great. Love that
then
it's-
when you said that in the parking lot afterwards, I'm like, yeah, she did say that. That is the corniest shit. And America Chavez says, this universe sucks.
Yeah. And
when
when-
she's in the cage.
And when Rachel McAdams goes, go back to hell. I'm like, oh, jeez. Guys, we're done with those lines. Like, those lines suck. Those lines ruin the movie for me. Like, those aren't like fun, like, iconic lines anymore.
And
those are bad.
It was the worst callback of all time, because that whole sequence where Caecilius is fighting Doctor Strange in the Sanctum in the first one, Strange picks up that cauldron thing, and Caecilius like flinches and he goes, "You don't know how to use that, do you?"
Yeah.
And then he fights him again. But for Christine to know how to use it, it's like, okay, well, you can dispel a little bit. Being 838 Strange might have shown her how to use that, but.
It's a lot.
Just that character in the scheme of everything.
Well,
we have never seen her actually involved in any magical stuff aside from saving Strange in the first one, and that was through Western medicine.
Well,
it
felt like it was like, let's make sure that Rachel fights a little bit in the movie instead of let's get Christine. If we're gonna give Christine action, let's like find a cool way to do it, not just like a dumb like
I think
generic
it should have been
save
found
him.
out in a way where it's like real world practical non-magical means can save something. If anything, have her be like Dr. Dan in Venom 2 pouring the gasoline. He's like, sound and fire minus the sound. That is infinitely funnier, and like it's still a stupid ass fucking device, but it's way better than go back to hell.
So going back to my movie. So they have unleashed Darkhold Strange.
It's so funny because you try and tell this plot, and then we open up branches of the multiverse with conversation.
That's kind of my idea, though.
And it's great. I love it. Let's keep
it's
it
a
going.
natural conversation start. So, Darkhold Strange comes through. Mordo gets knocked into Multiverse. He gets sent somewhere else because of this rip. And
Kind of like Loki on Sakaar.
And Dark Strange is like, ooh, I'm going to kill you. Because I like that idea of he was going to other multiverses and killing Stranges.
That idea
That's a movie.
That's
a whole
after
movie.
America Chavez to steal her powers because Strange can steal her powers.
Right.
So it's like she's, a multiversal fugitive almost. And he's sending monsters and stuff like that. Like he is this ominous force.
Be awesome, right? And so he's on Earth and Strange can't handle him and he's finding out about the multiverse. multiverse, and this is starting to fall apart, and all these other things that we set up in the early scenes are set it going. And he's realizing it's the Darkhold, and he's like, where do I find the Darkhold? And he learns about Agatha in Westview, and he's like, oh, I know who to talk to.
Yeah.
And he goes to Wanda, and Wanda's been using it. She hasn't been fully turned by it. And if I'm not mistaken, and you'll know this because you just rewatched WandaVision, at the end, her kids are like screaming, right?
That's all you see is the final shot of the show is her with the Darkhold on that same cottage that we saw in this movie before it was illusion or disillusioned into a fucking like
hellscape.
It reminded me of like Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're gonna do the most classic witchy fucking. She has to be a witch. She lives in a witchy world.
It felt like they didn't.
Everything is dead around her.
They didn't. She was building to something. They never let her become who she needed to be.
Yes,
in a way. Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, that is the final thing. Is she's flipping through the book, and then she hears from another universe, "Mom, Mom!" Like they're in danger.
Right. Which I think is more interesting and leads her because again, her being the villain is great, but her just that was another moment where I was like, oh, she's just bad. Like. I gotta see her get here because I'm not. I get the mom wanting to see the kids. All that populate in WandaVision works.
So much better to have an exterior force, Doctor Strange, be an influence on her rather than her just being like, "Fuck this shit, I'm gonna be a mom."
Right, and then like she is like unrootable towards the end of the movie.
Also, she picked a universe that doesn't have Vision.
Right. Well, do any of them? I guess I don't know.
Do
Vision's
any of them?
a whole other.
Like, is that a multiversal constant that Vision had to die? And like you theorized, was the universe that she picked like a universe where they had more time? Like he said at the end of Infinity War, I wish we had more time.
Like, did they just bang after Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a loving relationship. Like he got her pregnant.
Like that Vision had spent more time rather than studying the stone in his head, studying how to make his cock work and shoot actual semen.
If I was dating Elizabeth Olsen, I would put in that work.
Yeah.
I would want babies with that woman. I mean,
he's all about logic. That seems more logical to me.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. You know, it's nope, that's the wrong screen.
I'm not amused.
I don't know. I just needed a Vision drop. Anyway.
This one.
Yeah.
I request elaboration.
That's him discovering that he has a cock. So then we have him team up with Wanda and with a fight of Strange and Wanda versus Strange, which I think could have been one of the coolest set pieces in the MCU. They capture Darkhold Strange because Wanda is that powerful and can stop the Sorcerer Supreme that can beat the Sorcerer Supreme.
And Mordo.
And then Wong, something happens, something like blows up. Wong and Strange somehow get pulled back into that Mordo story. Wanda gets connected to Darkhold Strange. She's like, I'm chasing after my kids. He's like, I can help you get there. I know you don't fully understand this book yet, but like, here's some secrets.
Like, that would have been a great red herring to have be like Mordo's out there fucking shit up, and then they meet Mordo, and Mordo's like, dude, we got to team up. I hate you, but we got to team up. And then Wanda becoming, have Mordo be Count Dooku, Wanda be Anakin.
Love it. Yeah.
Where Strange is like, yeah, Mordo, but Wanda's who I'm after.
That's
as my apprentice.
Because I was kind of thinking with Mordo, okay, what do we do with him? Meanwhile, once he gets sent into that, well, he's got to figure out how to get back. And I think something that's really interesting that they didn't really try to do very much was, how do you get out of here? Like, we got sent to another universe. How do we? That's the problem with America. To me, is that America takes away any of the fear of the multiverse.
Well,
you know?
That was
the unpredictability.
The only thing that was slightly touched on at the very end was that once Strange, Zombie Strange got like killed, he is just hanging out in the Incursion universe with Christine, and America's like, I'll find you,
right?
You know. But that also means like she doesn't know exactly which universe that is.
And this is a problem I think Marvel has a lot, where their heroes, like America specifically in this movie, just figure it out. They just figure it out all of a sudden.
Dude,
I don't like it.
All it took for her, and this was pointed out, shout out Tim Hope, I know he's listening, that well, I said that basically all it took for America Chavez to gain control over her powers after the whole movie being like, I can't control them, was a pep talk from a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
A pep talk from a zombie. And then he goes, yeah, but isn't that what Christianity is? Just a pep talk from a zombie. And I'm like,
very good.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
Fucking nailed it. That's a great one.
that
It's a
deserves
pep
high
talk
five.
from a zombie. And all of a sudden, you're the most powerful fucking multiverse traveling bitch ever.
This has been a problem your whole life, and it is no longer a problem.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Very annoying. So I was thinking with Mordo, okay, maybe he is the one that goes to Illuminati universe, and he is the one that finds out about Strange doing the incursion. And not only that Strange can open the multiverse, but the potential of Strange is he can destroy realities, right?
Yes.
And Mordo's like, oh, like, again, I don't think it doesn't work for Mordo to be completely evil, right? He needs to be convicted for reasons, right? And to make it more personal from magic to Strange, because it's always about Strange, but he's like using this no more sorcerers things to justify what he's doing. Cut that all out, give it directly to him with Strange, and then have him trying to figure out how to get...
that was the weak version that we got, was Strange goading him, being like, I bet you hated me too on this universe, and you just wanted this to happen. I bet you gave me the Darkhold, huh? Didn't you?
Exactly.
But like, and that's what triggers him to fight him and all that. I'm like, and to fight without magic.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
I was asked that when I saw it the second time. I was like, why aren't they using magic? I'm like, because he put the cuff on him. It's dumb.
Yeah, it's a cheap
like that's literally
move.
what I said. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's dumb.
It's dumb. They're like, ooh, it'll add a challenge. It's not adding a challenge.
No,
it's you being cheap.
If you're gonna say that you're flipping it on its ear and making it more interesting by having them fight hand to hand without magic, wrong.
Yeah, wrong.
More
Totally,
magic.
Totally wrong.
More magic is what would have made
Here's-
it more interesting.
You want to make it interesting, have a Mordo Strange fight that lives up to the authenticity of the source material.
Yes.
Have some sort of actual conflict between these two that shows me how this brotherhood that's been give me that instead of him just throwing temper tantrums and Strange outsmarting him. It makes Mordo look stupid.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's like, guys, this isn't
Especially
working.
in a movie where Strange is made to look stupid the whole time.
The whole movie. And like, again, doesn't really have a character arc. I mean, again, you found one, but God, with so much work, you know? And it's a shame because like it's a Doctor Strange movie. So like, I was thinking, okay, this is obviously now we're like halfway through the movie, and you can't really think too much detail at this point. But based on what I have thought, I'm like, okay, maybe Mordo's there. He learns about it, and the Illuminati have America Chavez, like they have her, and they need to protect her because they know how dangerous she is, and he helps her, and she wants to get out, and he's like, hey, this Doctor Strange guy, it's dangerous. She's like, yeah, I think I can help you get to it. And then introduce America that way, bring her into it, and then have Wanda chasing Strange as Strange and Wong go through the universe and like go to different multiverses and address this, Strange accepting the consequences of his decisions and learning to trust the darker side for the greater good, or learning to give Wong the title of being the Sorcerer Supreme instead of just a dumb bowing joke at the end, right? Again, you've taken a very interesting concept and you've blown out the tire.
You've dashed.
Yep, you just stuck a knife in the tire and completely killed the vehicle. And have that go along and do all the things you did with Wanda where she's chasing him and she's going through, because that works. Like her breaking fucking Patrick Stewart's neck is something that the audience, there's no consequences to it, right? Because it's that universe. Whatever.
They just wanted to do a visually striking Freddy Krueger kill scene.
And to do the Omni-Man thing, to show that Wanda is the most powerful. You could do all of that in this world. Save the Illuminati for the end. And then this is the main thing. Have it come down to kind of Wanda like doing the dream walking, because she's still back there. She kills Darkhold Strange and takes his power or whatever. Now she's full go for it.
I
right?
like that.
And then she's chasing.
Where that's a real Anakin kind of arc. Where
Exactly.
It's like she kills him, like
realizes
fuck you,
who
dude.
she is, and then she fucking is going after them. Mordo shows up with America to take on Strange. Between Wanda, Mordo, and Strange, all just bam, 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 and America all with this like crazy unknown power. End the movie with them stuck in the multiverse and set it up, bringing in, say, Mephisto teaming up with Mordo to officially take out Strange, but Mephisto's trying to get one over on Mordo and take out Strange and open up the multiverse. And now you've opened up the multiverse in an organic way.
It would really be living up to the title, where he is in the multiverse of madness.
Is it the safe choice? I don't know. Maybe, I guess. But
Yeah.
like, again, it's not if, it's how, right?
Also, that title, it's been announced and been in our heads for so long. I never stopped and checked the title, where it's like the multiverse of madness. It's like, as opposed to what other multiverse?
Right.
The multiverse of Satanism. The multiverse as a concept is mad.
Yeah. That alone.
That alone.
So that's kind of my
It is
movie.
a mad universe.
Is like, tighten up the relationships. Give Wanda time to find being a villain. Play in the multiverse more than get through it. Again, the word I've seen most associated with this movie is frantic.
Yeah.
This movie felt very frantic. Very much like,
Which is weird because
we have 10 note cards on the wall and we have to address them all. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was a
Instead
real,
of, these are our
real
3
extreme
best.
example of the Trey Parker replacing everything with buts and howevers, you know, to tighten everything up. And I loved that this movie started with a bang.
Right.
Open on an
Got us
action
going.
sequence, Ponytail Strange and America running from this ribbon thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he
Didn't care for that thing.
I didn't either. As we all know, with you and ribbons and bandages.
Found that thing very visually unpleasant. I was like, oh, is this like what Wanda's going to do now is summon these things?
No, she only summoned that and Gargantos,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
It starts off with a bang, and then immediately from that scene moves into, it's a little bit down with Michael Stuhlbarg, who's built, top built, for one scene, you know? And then Gargantos shows up, and that was the thing Sam Raimi said was, like, people were asking about the Eye of Agamotto. He's like, even without the Time Stone, the Eye of Agamotto has a power to reveal things. True Doctor Strange fans would know that. I'm like, yeah, but also, was that a fake, like an actual fake Eye of Agamotto that goddamn Thanos crushed?
Had to been, yeah. I guess.
He's like, I got to store with both of these trinkets in the mirror dimension. And then just make a fake one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, I get it.
But, and also, why I really hate eyeball stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Eyeball stuff and boogers are probably my 2 biggest triggers and things. So, like, you know,
When an
Harry Potter,
octopus loses its eyeball, it's a pretty big
it had to
nightmare
make
for
a
you.
pop sound, dude.
Yeah.
Why- like, it undercut me going, oh!
Yeah.
When he threw that light post into his eye. I went, oh! And then it pops out. I was like, Sam Raimi. Because Sam Raimi loves eyeballs and loves undercutting his gross horror with a joke.
Oh!
Yeah, because I went, oh! To being like, ah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she only summons 2 beasts, and then the 4 that were on Mount
Already
Wundagore, just one of them dies.
I think again the thing that frustrates me the most,
But the
about,
pacing from that scene going forward, you're like, oh, Act 1 is very brisk. Act 2 is like a huge slam on the brakes. From the time Bruce Campbell shows up, it's a slam on the brakes.
Yeah, it's tough.
And it's like, okay, well, we got to do a scene with Strange and tease the next scene with Strange, but interrupt it with a scene with Wanda and Wong. And do that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth through Act 2 until Wanda decides to show up and kill the Illuminati.
Yes.
Because as we were watching it the first time, this was the thing that was driving me nuts the first time, was they show up in 838, we get that horrible scene with Bruce Campbell, which I love Bruce Campbell to death, but that scene is so fucking cringy. It's so fucking bad.
A lot of people love that scene.
This guy is selling.
Got a big laugh.
This guy is selling pizza balls.
And he's
the
using
pizza-
mustard.
And he's mustard. That's what I was gonna say. Why does he have mustard?
Pizza Papa always gets paid.
Pizza Papa always gets paid. That line is very funny,
Yeah.
but also the mustard.
Yeah, I know.
The fuck is the mustard
Who puts
doing
mustard
there?
on
Who puts
pizza?
what
A
is
goddamn
mustard doing
idiot.
anywhere near pizza?
Yeah, that's
When,
a
I mean,
sin.
I'm not against the concept of a pizza ball.
Yeah, a pizza ball.
A pizza ball would be phenomenal.
Give me
I
a
would
pizza ball.
get Jack a pizza ball right now. He's the biggest pizza fan in the world.
I eat pizza balls all
You
day.
and Mike Birbiglia need to have a Hulk versus Abomination fight over who's the biggest pizza fan.
That'd be pretty awesome. Just start growing like pineapple, Canadian bacon out of my arms.
Mike Birbiglia's fantasy is a pizza neck pillow. I'm sure yours is a pizza bed.
Yeah, 100%. Pizza sleeping bag?
Yeah,
By
pizza
the morning I wake up, it's all
bag.
gone. I'm freezing, but my insides are warm.
And you got zits all over your body because you're just sleeping in grease.
So Birbiglia's got him all over his neck, so whatever. If you're going to do it on your neck, you might as well do your whole body.
Immediately it's followed up by a very convenient exposition dump where Doctor Strange, because it's a futuristic utopian world, steps on a thing.
so much.
And it's just him having dinner with Christine, and it's just for that serves for America. Doesn't serve for the audience at all. It serves for America to just be like, is that Christine?
This was America Chavez's movie.
Yeah, but not.
But not, but like, if I had to say there was somebody who had a genuine journey in this movie, it's Wanda,
Yeah,
America.
but you had to get her backstory in a 30-second clip with her stepping on a thing.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I felt like, because the big hype is that she's she's a Mexican superhero, right? That's the kind of the big thing. I mean, obviously she's from Mexico in her universe, but like, it's like kind of disjoint. Like the idea of her being like a Mexican superhero is kind of disjointed.
They tried to cram whatever SJW message into she's a Mexican superhero or Latina superhero,
Latina, sorry.
and also daughter of lesbians. You know, so that they
I
crammed
should
that
say,
all.
I'm speaking Mexico Mexican as in the people from the country of Mexico.
Yeah, she is personally from Mexico.
Mexico, the place that is below us, that exists, and a lot of people live in and call themselves Mexicans.
We have to feel like, oh, let me clarify.
I'm sweating.
Yeah, exactly. But my whole thing with it, where it's just like, it was hammy. It was
a bee? A bumblebee?
Oh, yeah.
That's what scared her? That's what lost her family? It was a bee landed on her hand? Like, I get it. She's a kid. She's jump scared, whatever. But like,
she's like, let me, my powers activate when I'm scared.
Right.
Then make the movie scarier. Make it more of a conflict where she's put in situations where she's fearful and opens up tears involuntarily. And then through doing that repeatedly, she understands, face your fears, and that means you can control this power. Rather than, you always could have.
Right.
You always could.
You always have.
You were just lazy.
Yeah. You killed your parents for the reason to get here. That's why you did it, you know?
Like, no, you didn't kill them, but you did. No.
So let's dig it, because I could talk about that memory shit forever, and I would have never a positive
it
thing
comes
to
down
say.
to the places where they choose to do exposition dumps are fucking absurd.
Terrible.
Patrick Stewart is just an exposition dump of a character,
Literally.
explaining everything that happened in the 838 universe with Thanos and Doctor Strange and the Darkhold and Dreamwalking, yada, 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 the fuck yada. And also, we mentioned this, the whole scene where he goes, yeah, things just got out of hand. Not in this movie. John Krasinski says that line.
Yes, he does.
He says that line.
I thought it was like a
for him.
setup. Yeah. I was like, oh, he's going to say it later.
Yeah, like it's going to be a callback that every Doctor Strange does that. You know? Definitely not.
And yeah, I think let's talk about the sheet music.
Dude!
Don't make it the whole fight. You
Okay,
know? Like,
because I was watching this movie through the lens that I just talked to two people, Tim included, that didn't like this movie that much. And so I was watching it through the eye of, this is going to be a Sam Raimi movie. There's going to be undercutting, goofy horror stuff. There's a fucking 3-minute sequence of Bruce Campbell squirting mustard in his face and punching himself in the face. And probably like for how good I know Bruce Campbell is really bad slapstick acting. I just did it as good as he did. For people watching, you just saw me throw a punch in my face and then act like it hit me, but it didn't. And it's a delay. There was a delay between his punches and his reaction. But then you have this goddamn music scene where while I was watching it and it's going, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, this is something we've never seen before.
It's a cool concept.
It's a cool concept. This is something we've never seen before. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Have them throw it back once or twice.
Wait, it's still going.
Oh,
it's still going. Wait, this is the fight
and
between two Doctor Stranges.
And Darkhold Strange is dead.
Yeah. This is the fight. You're not going to vary it up. We're not going to like try and like pull the piano wire out and throw that at him. We're not going to try and pick elements. No, it's one pluck of a harp blows up a music orb of energy and sends Darkhold Strange out the window to get stabbed on a goddamn fence.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that fence was around the regular Sanctum.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What the fuck was that? I feel like everybody in their collective minds, whether they're casual fans or deep fans, can walk out of the movie going, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. That was just like, there's too much sheet music magic
And
in this
I was
movie.
really giving it the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, this is cool. We haven't seen this before, but then that's all it was. That's all it was.
Like a little back and forth, then they throw each other in the mirror dimension.
Yeah.
Then they're all of a sudden they're saying, no. You know what was a better fight? Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
Thanos versus Doctor Strange.
Yes.
Boom. Anything else Doctor Strange has ever done was better than that. Yeah. So stupid. So dumb. Hated also, like, I like Zombie Strange and the spirits and the things, but I also didn't like how Zombie Strange and Wanda didn't fight. He got up there. Yeah, he said the stupid line, and then he threw the souls at her, and then Wong put her in a ball.
Oh my God, you're right.
And then America
like...
punched her 3 times, and then she saw other Wanda, and then she gave up. That was the end. That was the climax of the movie.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
It's terrible.
Oh my God, because I was focused and hung up on the lead up.
Like, think again.
The lead up where Doctor Strange uses the Darkhold and tells Christine, which wasn't even a satisfying conclusion to the whole thing that was set up as a character flaw before, where you always have to hold the knife.
Right.
You know, it's really, he just goes, cover me.
Yep.
Which is putting her in the role in surgery that she was in the first one.
That's exactly right.
He put her in the spot where he's like,
anything.
I'm holding the knife, but you need to keep me steady. That's basically what it was, rather than being like, Christine, you are the only one who is able to do something like this.
Yes, exactly.
I need you to do this.
I cannot do it.
I need you to take this from me, because if I'm the one to do this, it will fuck it completely up.
Mm-hmm.
That would be him giving her the knife.
It'd be interesting.
No.
No.
Go back to hell is what we got. But that lead up, that
You
whole
can do
lead
it,
up,
Steven. You could do it, Steven. Come on, Steven.
that whole lead up to it was him showing up. He possesses Zombie Strange, which was way more decomposed than you'd think.
Yeah. I mean, what's it been? I mean,
A day?
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 2.
And I know that he had burns and stuff from the
But it
ribbon
did
thing.
not look like that.
It didn't look like that. He looked like he had been decomposed about 5 years, you know?
Yeah.
So that
All remnants of the goatee gone.
yeah. It's preposterous. Also, 838 Strange without a goatee. Never realized how uncertain I feel seeing Benedict Cumberbatch without a goatee in that character.
Cut that.
Cut that. But how do you show that he's different? I don't know. Put a hat on him. Make him wear a hood.
Yeah,
because he's a dark wizard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But then he, only sling rings himself to about the point that Wong could get as close to Wundagore, and that's when the souls of the damned start attacking him. Stephen Strange, you're not allowed to do this with an undead body. You could dreamwalk otherwise, but not with an undead body.
This is not cool.
This is not cool to us. And it takes him so much time and a pep talk to beat him.
Yeah, and then he eliminates.
Meanwhile, Wanda, as the buildup is going, has started to draw the powers from America.
Mm-hmm.
And then Strange shows up at the same time that Wong wakes up and kills the one with the sword rope. And when Wong and Strange climb up to that, she's not draining America's powers anymore. She's just hanging out, waiting for the fight to happen, I guess.
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, basically. And then she just gets scared a little bit by the souls of the damned that Doctor Strange now has possession over.
And gets punched a bunch by America. Like, again,
That's it. The
everything.
final fight is so anticlimactic.
Yeah. It's like everybody gives Marvel shit for these, like, big, crazy final fights.
I mean, that was the thing that I said when we walked out. I'm like, hey, there wasn't a sky beam.
Yeah.
There wasn't a sky beam. Disposable army.
You know what executed that perfectly? Civil War.
Yeah.
Civil War executes that problem perfectly. They turn it around. They make it intimate. They make it personal. They make it Tony versus Cap versus Bucky. Right? Awesome. Just one of the best movies I mean, I've seen, but also one of the best sequences, certainly in the MCU. You have all the potential to do that.
Talk about emotional impact that was earned and cashed out on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just not, you just don't get any of those normal, what I call like Marvel. I think the reason that it's gotten me going back since I was 12 or whatever is that it gives me goosebumps moments.
Yes.
Every movie gives me a little, here we go.
Yeah.
I got a couple of those with Wanda in this one, but again, it's Doctor Strange.
But not
movie.
Strange, yeah.
And it's like, again, Cumberbatch is doing the best he can. He owns this character. There is
Both
nothing.
of them kill it.
And now we're setting up this third movie with Charlize Theron.
But not really setting it up.
Exactly. Like, this is so confusing and so strange and convoluted. And it's like, what, are you going to bring Sam Raimi back? Are we going to do this all again? Like, I don't feel...
I don't think Sam Raimi's coming back.
I don't think so. I think after the feedback of this movie, Feigs and Raimi probably
and my
will
thing too
mutually...
with it is that, that was another thing from the interviews with Sam Raimi, is that this dude's just been hobbying it up.
Exactly.
Just sitting comfortably, just hobbying it up, growing shit in a garden.
Living life,
having a great time. And I feel like this might have been his Glenn Close move, where he's like, I want it for the paycheck. I'll do whatever they ask of me. I'll do it the best I can. I know I can do it. But my heart is totally in my garden.
That's right. There was a lot of botany in this movie. No, I'm just kidding.
Interesting.
the dark-
Also, why does every utopia have overgrown hanging gardens everywhere, and every dystopia has just dirt and trash everywhere?
Everything's breaking and falling. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very generic.
exposed wires on the outside of buildings and shit.
Yeah.
Visually come up with new shit for your utopias and for your topias.
For your topes.
For your topes.
Yeah, figure out your topes, okay? Yeah, I don't... Yeah, I'm just left with... I mean, again, watching Moon Knight and just feeling so much positive energy coming from this studio and so much excitement.
Moon Knight, you can watch the season finale of that show as like a Battle of the Bastards episode.
Totally, yeah. And two, like, the whole thing, like, I felt like this movie to me felt like them going like, oh, you think we make the same movie every time?
Watch this.
And Moon Knight felt like the same thing, except like an original, good, fun idea. And this felt like, oh, like, again, Kevin Feige loves Doctor Strange, loves what Doctor Strange is in the comics, and is like, let's make the wildest fucking Evil Dead superhero bizarro movie. And
and having an undead version of your main character is so Evil Dead, it's stupid.
yeah, exactly. Well, again, you're ripping off the Evil Dead now at this point.
And let me tell you,
You only get away with it
this
because you have the
movie-
director.
This
you know?
movie, I feel like what I was talking about before, where the pacing tone was set, and then it was just like the brakes were slammed in Act 2. Act 2 kind of reminded me of Act 2 of Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Where the brakes were slammed once Sandman gets like washed away.
To that point,
the brakes were slammed, and it's just emo Peter and Mary Jane getting manipulated by New Goblin and all this stuff, and then it's like yada yada yada, and it's exactly why I loved Venom 2.
right.
Is that movie? It doesn't have an Act 2, and that movie is flawed beyond belief. But it's why I loved it, is that they knew that instead of forcing an Act 2 where we add convoluted elements, they were like, this is what this movie is.
Exactly.
It's a short story.
Right.
Basically, this is 3 episodes of a TV show if you want to go that far. It didn't have 6 episodes in it.
Yeah.
And they were aware of it. They executed it properly. I feel like Tom Hardy and Kelly Marcel wrote that script being like, let's just make a movie where it's Venom versus Carnage.
Yep.
You know, kind of have a little bit in the middle where it's like, you know, almost a romantic relationship falling out between Venom and Eddie. But the movie, it still holds.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
movie still holds. This movie, it feels like it just sort of fell apart in Act 2, where they're in the 838 universe, which is only one of 2 multiverse places, like you said, that they land. And we hang out there. We don't get a scope of what this universe is like or what it, you know, means to be Doctor Strange. You know, we don't get any of this insight. It feels very unearned. And so much of this movie feels unearned. It just feels given. Like you're just going, okay, I guess we have this. And it comes down to the jokes. This is the note that I made here. Jokes should be earned instead of forced. They don't fall flat so much like I assume the jokes of Morbius did. Were there jokes of Morbius?
I couldn't tell.
Exactly, because they fell so flat.
Yeah, I don't.
You're the only one who's
They
seen
talked. They definitely talked a bunch.
Yeah.
So.
But it's like, we are Venom part. Like that from the trailers alone, I'm like, that's going to fall flat in theaters. Nobody's going to laugh at this movie.
Again, I need to remind you, Sammy B, I fell asleep 3 times in Morbius, and I saw it at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane. That is insane.
I think, and it's like an hour 45.
Which is crazy that Sony managed to peddle out a worse movie than this movie.
Yeah. Oh.
At least this movie is enjoyable. Like,
yeah,
we're coming
no,
in hot,
no.
and we preempted it by being like, we're going to be super critical of this movie, but we liked it. That's the thing. We liked it.
I won't even venture to compare Morbius to this movie in any way, shape, and form. No.
Yeah.
No. Morbius is an abomination.
There we go. This is the note. The
Morbius
jokes
offends
fall
me.
flat, but they definitely felt like they didn't belong there. Like, the Bruce Campbell and that music fight scene went way too fucking long for no reason other than because.
Yeah.
They were padding a runtime that didn't need padding. That's what it was. There's so much that could have been unpacked that they chose to show Bruce Campbell and a music fight.
Yeah.
Rather than unpacking the shit that we want to unpack.
You know, it sounds... Yeah, so, obviously we've talked about how, like, I think if New Goblin and Sandman had been the villains in Spider-Man 3, it would have worked, right?
Yeah.
And then Avi Arad came in and said, we got to get Venom. We have to get Venom. And clearly Sam Raimi didn't understand Venom, right? He didn't understand how, not Venom as a character, how to bring Venom into this. He didn't have an idea because he had written a movie. It was done.
Yeah.
And then he had to add this other element that becomes the main part. Same with this. I think Sam Raimi would have done a great job if it was just Wanda chasing Strange to the multiverse. I like America Chavez, but America Chavez's introduction to this, I think, totally undercuts any character development for anybody else.
Yes.
It forces Wanda to be completely evil. It makes Strange uninteresting and a mentor again. I'm not interested in Strange being a mentor anymore.
I feel like this
Spider-Man
movie,
was perfect for that.
Yeah, I feel like this movie got pulled back.
Totally.
Pulled back for what it was gonna be and what was set up to be. And I think the fault of it was Loki.
Yeah, but bringing Michael Waldron in.
The positive effect of how good season 1 of Loki was, I feel like they reacted like they did in phase 2 with Ultron. We got to be more Loki. Get Michael Waldron involved. Because Michael Waldron, he wrote it. He wrote the whole thing. And so when I saw that he was the sole credited writer, they got Derrickson out of there. They got everybody who came in to rewrite this movie out of there. This is Michael Waldron's final script. A lot of it just doesn't feel earned. Here's my another note. Strange is a massive hypocrite in this movie, which was a major theme for the first movie and why Mordo turned on Tilda Swinton, However, it's presented like, you gotta be a hypocrite sometimes to do the right thing. Rather than like Strange really wrestling with the fact internally that he has to play dirty if he has even a hope of defeating Wanda. Right. He's just like, fuck it, I'll take that third eye. That doesn't seem like it's going to be a big deal until the next movie, maybe. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just a weird Sam Raimi touch to have the third eye.
He seems to be totally fine with that third eye by the post-credits.
Oh, yeah.
The movie ends with him growing the third eye and go, ah! And then by the post-credit scene, by the end of the cast and crew, it's Charlize Theron saying, you caused an incursion. Let's go fix it. He opens the third eye. And he's like, all right, let's roll. Mm-hmm. He's got full control of it. What?
Yeah. No, it's undercut. Everything is undercut and unearned. This movie is just a fucking Franken baby. Yeah. This is the Frankenness baby of all time.
I would call this, I'd venture to say this one's a bit of an MCU nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
My next note, Mordo, ... Why the fuck is he even in this movie?
Yep.
Seriously, so this whole note is the longest note that I have because it's all about the Illuminati.
Yep.
So, seriously, false advertising with how it seemed in the trailers, like we talked about. But nah, he was just a variant with locks for Strange to... to goad. I thought that said good. Like, that whole confrontation was unearned because we do not know that Mordo was after Strange. Like I said before, he just left at the end of the first one and then killed Pangborn, yada, yada, yada. And if they blew us with Krasinski, yada, yada, yada. Patrick Stewart coming back felt like a really fucking lame introduction of an X-Men into the MCU. Like, him and Krasinski showing up at all is basically Disney and Marvel going like, look who we got, guys. We can use them now. We're going to put them in this movie. Doesn't feel earned. Doesn't feel like this was the time to do it. It doesn't feel like the time to do it.
No.
Or
at least not this way.
It's even lamer to introduce Professor X with the 1997 cartoon music cue, the Danny Elfman, you know, because it's fucked up. Because we know that we're gonna get the sequel series to that 97 animated series, which is fantastic. But to present Professor X as if he's that Professor X, and then to break his neck and kill him off immediately. Oh, and then also for
How
him,
much more can we watch this poor man die?
exactly.
Yeah.
I turned to you in the theater and I was like, it never gets easier to watch that guy die. It never gets easier to watch Professor X die. But for him to do this and then have the psychological ring thing from the cartoon to show Strange what happened to that Strange, which is Black Bolt going, I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't like it. I didn't like how that sounded. I mean, it just like in the theater, the way that played, I was just like, this hurts my ears more than makes me feel like it's cool. Yeah.
Also, you have no emotional impact for why it is.
Yeah.
Because I watched like a supercut of all the Black Bolt fight scenes in the Inhumans. He uses his voice once as a kid and then threatens to use his voice several times throughout the series. Like you got Bastard.
Ramsey.
Yeah. You got him being like, whoa, 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 all the time. Every time that Black Bolt brings in a breath. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And the way the show ends is that he locks him in a bunker on their moon base or whatever. Don't fucking ask me.
So does he use the voice?
But that's the thing, is that he locks him in there and then goes outside the bunker and then he goes, goodbye, brother. And that's the only time that he speaks the entire series. And it blows up the bunker so that Ramsey is buried. Because he
kills Ramsey.
No, he doesn't have the heart to kill Ramsey. He just has the heart to bury him because they're brothers. So he doesn't have the heart to blow him away, but he has the heart to bury him.
It's almost worse.
It's worse.
You bury him alive?
It's way worse. To live with that, to bury somebody alive is way worse, right?
I mean, yeah.
It's the worst thing to do.
Instead of eviscerate him in one quick moment.
He didn't want to see it. He didn't want to see it. So you just look at him and go, with your eyes closed and go, goodbye, brother. And then blow him up. Ugh. That would have been more impactful, but that show sucked. And
no wonder
the
Inhuman sucks. Anyway,
and it's the same actor, Anson Mount. So, right. And for who? For who was that cameo?
Who got excited about that?
Who was like, ooh, it's the same guy. For anything, put Vin Diesel in, because Vin Diesel was going to be the Black Bolt originally.
That would be
funny. And this was my note. For Wanda to clap the Illuminati as quickly as she did, I would have been fine with Tom Cruise Iron Man.
Yeah, totally.
It would have made sense as to why the Ultron bots are there. Yeah. Because there's no Hank Pym or Tony Stark.
I guess we have to assume Reed Richards made him, but...
Yeah, or assume that there was an Iron Man and he died fighting Thanos. Assume.
Yeah.
Assume. What the fuck kind of movie do you just have to assume? Alien Covenant, you gotta assume shit all the time. Or do your homework to make that movie work. Otherwise, it's just a kind of hot fucking mess. Same with this movie. And there's no homework to be done for this, so you just gotta assume.
Yep.
You gotta take things for granted. And then it should have had even the slightest familiarity with Wanda, because in the animated universe, Professor X and Wanda interact.
Yeah.
He knows about the Scarlet Witch.
Totally.
He knows about Wanda. So to have
she's Magneto's kid.
Basically have any kind of familiarity rather than being like the third and final exposition dump that he does in that sequence. So the first one was him showing up, explaining what happened to Doctor Strange. The second one was him explaining that, I'm going to kind of leave the key in the cell for this Doctor Strange. See what kind of Doctor Strange this is, where it's like he knows that this one's going to be the one. He knows Wanda's coming. But then he goes into Wanda's mind, right, to try and like pull out the 838 Wanda, and he goes, I need to get you out of this rubble because that will break the spell.
Yeah.
Because that will break the spell. Just do it. It's implied in the entire sequence. It's fucking implied in the sequence. You dipshit fucking writers. Michael Waldron. Frankenstein baby. Producers. I feel like whoever is to blame for that.
I was going to say.
What the fuck?
I feel like the two people that come out looking the roughest from this are Waldron and Feige.
Yeah.
I think they come out. I think Waldron comes out looking not ready for this opportunity. And I think Feige comes out looking a little shaken post-Avengers.
Yeah.
I think we've had, 5, 6 MCU movies now.
Mm-hmm. This is the fifth one.
This is the fifth one. Black Widow, it's fine. like we talked about.
Should have been before Endgame.
Right. I think it's a really fun spy movie. I really do. Again, I think it's
the
great.
amount of these movies in Phase 4 that have been coming out that I'm like, should have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Is a fuck up.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, so here's my ranking. No Way Home, Shang-Chi. I love Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi's phenomenal.
This movie.
Shang-Chi gets better the more you watch it.
Yeah. This movie, Black Widow, and Eternals. Yeah. That's my ranking.
Yeah,
Black Widow, I would
concur.
say, is only because it got kneecapped by the fact that you're watching a movie about a dead girl, which is a limp disguise to set up Yelena.
Well, and I would rather see Scarlet Witch breaking necks than,
Yes.
Russian spies. I'm going to be
Yes,
honest. That's just
personally.
my personal preference. But
the writing of that movie was better than this one. But
Totally.
the entire positioning of where it came out in the MCU's grand scheme is fucked.
yeah, Waldron's in a tough spot because of his Rick and Morty past, right? So he's kind of like the multiverse guy. But I think the thing is, nobody's tried a fucking multiverse.
Well, it feels
thing.
like he's been working hard on Loki, and then Feige was just like, dude, we got to get you in on this. We don't know what. It's a
I
mess.
should take that back because I really respect Michael Waldron. Not that he's not ready.
No, I feel like he did the best with the time
he
that he
got
had.
screwed
He
more
got
than
screwed,
anything.
yeah.
So yeah, more than anything, it's. I think Feige comes out looking the toughest out of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then Captain Carter had to get undercut by her goofy Buzz Lightyear jetpack.
I hated
Let's
that.
talk about the
jetpack.
jetpack, Jack.
That's stupid.
What did it do other than have her superhero land?
Yeah, and had that one part where she was like going really far, and then she caught herself and like caught her feet or whatever or something. She was like sliding, and then it like stopped her. Yeah,
And the only thing that this
Stupid.
thing served was cutting her in half. We're like, well, that's not the Captain Carter from What If.
right,
you
exactly.
know?
Yeah,
But it's actually Haley Atwell, which makes it like
still really sad.
really
Still
sad.
Really sad.
Really sad. So it's not our Captain Carter, and I'd say that since these cameos did little to no setup for anything in the future, except now we hold our breath that Jay Krass is confirmed for John Watts' Fantastic Four. This movie did what we didn't want it to do: cheapen Charles Xavier's death in Logan.
Yeah,
It cheapened it.
totally.
It totally cheapened
Totally
it.
did. Yeah.
Which was what we
Absolutely.
were hoping it wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And so happy that we didn't get Hugh Jackman in this.
Yes. Yeah. No.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Let him go out with Logan.
please.
If you're gonna do this,
Yeah.
let him go out with Logan. At the very least,
mercy.
if you're gonna bring him back, you gotta really earn it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta be earned, okay, buddy. And then subtext aside, I really love the whole sequence because it proves that not only Wanda could have killed the fuck out of Thanos single-handedly, she could also dispatch the Avengers at their full might, stupid easy, without having to play mind games, including Captain Marvel. So that was it.
Yeah.
This next note is something that I went, ooh, really hard with Spider-Man Far From Home, which was Mysterio saying that the MCU was Universe 616.
Right.
616.
Yeah.
But he was a bullshit artist. The multiverse hadn't been opened at that point. He was just fucking around. So it was like, okay, they pulled it back. Then they declared it. They declared it with a stamp from Christine's mouth that the MCU is Universe 616. Now, for people who are listening, who are just casual Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, that means nothing to you. But for people who are comics fans, that means everything. Because that is the main comics continuity universe of the Marvel Comics universe, the real MCU. And the way that universe works is fucking Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park rules, where it's just always contemporary. They are the same age pretty much until they, as a collective writers team, go, okay, we're going to age them up a little bit. We're going to move forward. We're going to move forward in this chapter. Because, like, Peter Parker is no longer a high schooler or college kid. He owns his own business now at this point in the comics. He's a adult. Adult. But so that's how that works. And the only movie that said that, Peter Parker is from the 616 universe is Into the Spider-Verse, because Peter B. Parker is pulled out of the universe. And I talked to another comics fan about this, and they agree with me that that one is the only one that is plausible, and I'm allowing will be the 616 Peter Parker, because you will never see that Peter Parker in the comics.
True.
He will never get that old. He will never reach that point. And if they do, then he's going to get retconned eventually. But it's down the line. Down the line. It's a Peter Parker that we're intended to never see, to never reach that point in his life. So that plausibility sustains. This being the MCU being 616, they're retconning the comics. by declaring that. Kevin Feige, the biggest Marvel fan, decided to take that big, bold-ass swing and call the MCU Universe 616. Call it 617, for fuck's sake. Because that really means that the MCU is retconning all of the comics. Yes. In which case, why have the comics at all then?
Why do it?
That's my take. That's my take on this whole thing. It's bold as fuck for them to do that.
It is, yeah.
And the only way that I could undo it in my mind, untwist that fucking knot in my mind, is be like, well, who's to say that 838 is even 838? That's what they declared themselves, and they could just declare the MCU the 616. That's the 838 616.
That's right. Yeah, there's infinite.
But you have to get that convoluted to fucking wrestle with it to make it work. You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that, man. Yep. You shouldn't have to do it.
Yeah.
God damn it. Getting to the final bit of my notes. Mount Wundagore. The guy who I was talking to at the bar was making a big deal about it as if it was like this huge thing in the comics. Everything that I found was that it's not that huge of a deal that they did what they did in this movie. It's just a mountain, basically. In the same way that Sokovia was just a country.
Right.
You know, it's just something made up for a location to put the heroes for whatever story they're telling. But essentially what I looked up and found out was that Mount Wundagore was where Wanda was actually born. She's not really, her and Quicksilver are not really Magneto's kids based on whatever comic arc they're on, whatever universe they're on, from what I looked up on the Marvel Wiki. But that's where they were imbued with their powers through magical means rather than them being mutants. Mm-hmm. So, cool. That makes total sense in this movie. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And also that is where the Darkhold came from.
It's pretty cool.
But the demon who created the Darkhold was also the demon that imbued them with the powers. So to have that demon be like the villain or something like that, be her parentage or something like that, okay, let's go with that.
Sure.
Instead of just being like, the Scarlet Witch was either meant to rule reality or destroy it. That's literally what Wong says.
Yeah, I know.
Is like she's an either or. There's no gray area with the Scarlet Witch. She's either red or blue. So clearly she's
and her
red.
name's Scarlet. Yeah. So.
But it didn't seem like they bastardized that. They need somebody. They need to hire somebody to keep track of Wanda's accent.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same
between
thing.
WandaVision and this show and this movie.
Well, WandaVision they got away with it because it's in the shows. And
so
stuff,
she's
right?
using an American accent,
Right.
but for this movie in particular,
no,
she's all over the place with her accent.
They
like,
lost that.
Does leaving the Hex and bringing it back in and leaving Westview, does that mean that she has to revert to her Sokovian accent?
Maybe she just created a reality where she can speak however she wants.
She just has her own accent flexibility.
She's like, I do not like the Sokovian accent. I'm going to be more American.
But it was like, for WandaVision, it was consistent where it was like when she walks out of the Hex and throws the UAV at
you're the ones with the guns.
Yeah.
I can't do it. But.
It's like, you're the ones with the guns. She's using her Sokovian accent, but when she's in the Hex, it's American accent. Mm-hmm. But in this one, it's like she talks to Strange at the beginning.
It doesn't seem fair. Yeah, she's got like half of an accent.
Yeah, it's like
if
half
that,
of an
if
accent.
that. Yeah, it's like
so
Layla from fucking Moon Knight.
Yeah, and it would have been more consistent to be like 838 Wanda, she has the American accent. 616 Wanda has the Sokovian accent. Make it a little bit more discernible. But when she shows up and fucks up the Illuminati, it's like, what mouth? Was that American or not? Was that just a weird pronunciation of what mouth? I don't fucking know.
My boys.
Big old Phase 2 vibes, but for some reason Phase 4 has the most movies of them all. Like, this Phase 4 has the most slated
in 2
projects.
years, yeah. There's
in
already
2
been
years.
5.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting 3 this year alone.
Yeah, this was the first of 3.
The first of 3.
Yeah, I feel like Thor and Black Panther, though. Yeah.
Also, how the fuck would they have had it be that this movie was slated to come out in the chronology before No Way Home?
Yeah.
Because it would make sense in the only way that No Way Home, Peter would twist his arm by being a kid, but him being like, I know what the multiverse holds. All right. I know how dangerous this can be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. Like, if you're going to call it a Doctor Strange movie, you better have the cause and effect be because of him. Like the ramifications from No Way Home, for example. Maybe. Rather than his spell exploded because at that moment, as Kevin Feige said, the spell exploded because Sylvie stabbed, the one above all.
Feige said that.
Yes.
Okay.
Feige has said that is the moment that the spell exploded and the multiverse opened, was Sylvie stabbing him.
See? Explore that.
Explore it.
Oh,
Let us
my
know. Give us
God.
even just like a little bit of a glimpse, especially when you got the writer of the TV show. Give us a little bit of a fucking crumb that it's going to connect in some way to Loki. If Loki is the catalyst, fucking prove it.
Yeah.
Fucking prove it.
Yep.
Tell us.
No.
Explicitly tell it.
They don't have to do
Instead of
anything.
making us do this kind of homework or assume. Come on. And, it would be much more impactful instead of a diner scene exposition dump like, Spider, this one did. But the exposition dump from Spider-Verse with Jake Johnson and Shamik sitting there and him explaining, well, shit gets weird sometimes. It served the story rather than them just being like, we're on this now.
Totally.
Don't worry about that. We're on this now. Yeah. That's basically how that went. And America flips the script on its ear, and now apparently dreams are glimpses into the multiverse, which...
I don't know.
If every time that I have the dream of the last day of high school of not graduating or maybe not graduating is a glimpse into the multiverse, it's a bleak multiverse for Sammy B. Let me tell you. It's a bleak multiverse for Sammy B. Can't graduate high school, apparently.
Hey, you got through it in this one.
I got through it in this one. That's why lately I've been like telling myself in those dreams and making them lucid dreams by being like, no, but...
You passed.
Core Sammy B did do this.
Every Sam.
So you can fuck around in this universe if you want.
Every Sam in every other universe didn't pass high school.
Yeah. Or he's just stuck in Columbine at 26. Basically this movie is not a Doctor Strange 2. Infinity War was a misnomer. For us audience members to realize later that the villain was the protagonist, like Thanos, that's his movie. Calling it Avengers Infinity War was a mistitling on purpose because the bad guy won.
Totally. Yeah.
It's Thanos, the movie, With Doctor Strange 2, we're getting a misnomer because it's the conclusion of WandaVision through the lens of Strange, but the title is named after him. When it's not his story. It's not his story.
It's not. It's America's story.
Oh, that is my last note. My dreams are mostly my last day of high school, and lately most of my dreams selves are aware and not graduating is inconsequential to the future. So what in each dream I'm seeing, what Sam variant did on that last day? What happened?
Yeah.
What are those Sams doing in the multiverse if I keep dreaming different ones? Because they're all different. Same but different.
Yeah.
So, and then did I fuck up their lives by doing what I did by dream walking? Who knows?
You've destroyed multiverses.
But that's the final note that I had. I compiled a lot for this one. I mean, this one's nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, I think I if I have any more, I'm just going to start screaming again.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants
But
that.
this is what I said at the beginning, that this is the perfect DMT movie because we have so fucking much to say about it. But we're still going to give it a high rating.
Of course.
So if you're giving it an 8.5, I'll give it an 8.5 because what you said after we walked out of the movie was perfect. Where you go, when I leave a Marvel movie that I really loved, I feel like 98 to 100% just like, yeah!
Like my phone is fully charged.
Yeah, you're fully charged.
I don't have to worry.
Leaving that movie,
Powerful.
leaving Thor 2, leaving Avengers Age of Ultron, leaving Iron Man 3, left you about 80% charged, where it's like,
I saw a Marvel movie.
yeah, okay.
That's
but,
cool.
I mean, it's still not like, I could go the rest of the day on this, but it's
I'm
not
not too
fully
worried.
charged.
Yeah,
it's not a fully charged phone here.
I don't want to make a habit of doing this.
Yeah, and so that's why I gave it an 8. But if you're going to give it an 8.5, I'll give it an 8.5 because that's the rating.
Yeah, it's out of bias, but it's
That's the rating, and that's probably the lowest Marvel rating we've given, let alone rating at all on this thing. I mean, I gave Venom 2 a fucking 10.
I think we given some ones we didn't like lower stars, but
Probably.
those are just silly. Yeah.
I mean, definitely like fucking Red Notice was a 7 for sure, through and through 7.
Yeah, that was
But Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, 8.5.
5. Yeah, check it out. See it. Whatever.
Yeah. But it's like, enjoy it. enjoy it.
Yeah, it's
Enjoy
just a
it
movie.
for what it is.
It's just a movie. It's not a Marvel
But
movie.
when you get to being like Jack and I, and you start unpacking this thing, it's like the okay metaphor. We're unpacking this thing. It's like we got to the destination. We're on vacation, right? And you start unpacking and putting it in the the hotel thing, and you realize you only packed one shirt, one sock, not a pair of socks, one sock, and no underwear.
That's out.
That's what this movie felt like, where you just go, I can make it work, but god damn it, it's gonna not.
I'm gonna be uncomfortable.
It's gonna be uncomfortable and clumsy, walking around with one sock foot, the same shirt, many pairs of pants. You got plenty of pants. You got pants for days.
Pants for days, yeah.
But no underwear. And you forgot your belt.
That's right. And you have this weird random
That's
fedora
how Doctor Strange
that you have
feels.
to wear. Yeah,
It's like you just swept a bunch of clothes into your bag and then unpacked it later, and you're like, oh fuck,
why
I'm
did I
not
do
ready.
that?
I did not prepare for this trip. They did not prepare for this trip. That's what Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is, a hastily packed suitcase.
It's as well as I could have said it.
And I still really liked it.
Still liked
That's
it,
the
yeah.
thing.
I've seen it
We
twice.
can get fucking flippantly obsessed, but I still really enjoyed it.
Hey, that doesn't take anything away.
Exactly.
But
That being said,
I gotta go.
thank you guys for tuning in to this week's DMT reviews. This one's been a long time anticipated, a long time coming, and probably the most animated we've gotten on the show in a while.
quite some time.
And thank you for listening. Go ahead and check out DMT Don't Miss This podcast, especially this last week's episode. I think was probably it made up for 150. It felt like 150 for me. It was like, we didn't make a milestone of it. You know what? We saved it for 151 rum.
That's right. That's how we do it.
And the big box is stupid. Go and check that out, because if you think we're critical without a base, we're critical of ourselves in an even worse, unforgiving way than we were in that episode. So DMT Don't Miss This podcast. DMT Table Reads, of course. If you want to go ahead and back-to-back do a double header, go listen to 151 where we shred our old material, and then you're going to listen to our current material.
That's right.
Where we've written much better. Now, honestly, I would stack up, if you held up Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness script up against Unexplainable, episode 1.
Without anything else.
Without anything else in the world, people would probably go Unexplainable episode 1. Like, I want to see more of that rather than being Doctor Strange 2. We didn't even talk about Charlize Theron showing up.
Yeah, I mean, just a little tiny bit. But
Because we don't know who that is, she doesn't say her name. So you have to Google who was at the end of Doctor Strange.
Who is
You know
Charlize
what?
Theron?
You know what? Actually, Charlize Theron had to post on her Instagram a picture of that character and go, "Meet Clea," as the caption. Clea apparently is like the Sorcerer Supreme in the Dark Dimension.
Yeah, isn't she like Dormammu's niece?
Basically.
Yeah,
And then after saying "I love you" in every universe, he gets introduced to basically who's going to be his wife.
Yeah. Christina's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at least we got a breakup rather than Thor 3 being like, it was a mutual dumping.
Oh, well, that's going to be addressed.
We could keep talking about this movie for 5 hours if we wanted to.
Yeah.
But we have a show to run here, and 2 hours is already pushing it.
That's fair. That's fair. If you're still here with us, goddamn.
We love you.
Yeah, we do.
Appreciate you. And I got to say that you better go ahead and take it sleazy, Mayor McCheesy.
Later, skaters. Fuck it, I love you is dead. I love you guys is dead.
Okay.
No, I love you guys.
Oh, you guys. Oh, you guys.
I was like, I like later skaters.
Hardcore DMT. When you do DMT, you see that.
I just got to make it my own.
You know what? Later Gators might be the I gotta go.
Fortify your mind!